Hey, everybody. Hey, welcome. It's Thursday night, and it is your friendly neighborhood Van Ebert here for another new episode of Movies Merica. Spoiler warning. And tonight we are going into the Coliseum. Yes, you will experience the sands of the Coliseum, the roar of the crowd. But I will not be facing that fearsome activity by myself. I will have a special guest here on the show to face this daunting experience with me. But we're going to talk some Gladiator here. Maybe you've heard of it. Maybe you've heard of the movie. I don't know, a little Russell Crowe movie, made a couple bucks at the box office and whatnot. You know, a few people might know about it and that kind of thing. But we're going to go into that here tonight. So, but before we do that, this.
In a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
All right, so that should have you all pumped up here. But really quick, I want to welcome my movie maniacs and my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics. You guys know who you are. And so I teased it with you just a little bit ago here about a special guest joining me here. And I am not going to hold you in suspense any longer here. So get ready to put your hands together. Bring it up on stage, Keri Smith.
Hey, Van. I got so pumped from that intro of yours.
Oh, did you? Did you? Were you rocking out?
Yeah.
Did you take the hat off? You're like, yeah, there you go. Like hair flying everywhere.
No. Once you with curly hair, once you put a hat on, you're wearing that hat all day.
It's there. It's going to stay on the premises right there.
Yes.
So there I'm learning something new every day. I'm getting some hat knowledge here on Movies Merica. Spoiler warning on a Thursday night. I appreciate that there. So, but welcome. Thank you for doing me the honor of coming here on the show. I've seen you on so many things here. Friday Night Tights, Trigonometry there. I love Constantine and Francis. I had no idea you were on there. And then I went ahead and I did this thing called research. And
okay.
I saw you out there. Yeah, I saw you out there like, whoa, hey, she's there with the boys.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was I think it's been 3 years now. That was closer to the beginning of me leaving the woke cult than where I'm at now. But I love those guys. They're doing great. I saw they just passed a new milestone. I'm not sure. But anyway, I look at them and I'm like, oh my gosh, astronomical growth.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're getting more and more popular. I just saw them on with Adam Carolla the other day there because it looked like they were doing that thing where they were up in some house, like up in Malibu, because I think Adam Carolla's got a house up in Malibu. I don't know if they're at his place, but they're doing that thing where they're sitting at a table. Constantine and Francis on one side, Adam on the other side, of course. And so Adam Carolla had, hey, I'm doing an interview with the Trigonometry guys. And so he's interviewing them. And then there's another episode of Trigonometry was like, hey, we're interviewing Adam Carolla. They're at the same table. They just switched like who's asking the questions.
Yeah, that's great.
It's like
one right after the other. Just knock it out. You're only going to be there once, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're probably like, okay, we got this place for 4 hours. You get 2, I get 2, and we'll ask each other questions. We'll interview each other and that kind of thing. So you bet. And I just saw the live chat there. That just reminded me to, everybody can get in the live chat on Rumble, YouTube, and say hi to me and Keri right there. And I see that. I apologize, Keri, in advance. Right there. So Professor Savage said right there. So, that's an inside joke from a little earlier. Right there, and apparently you got some admirers, or you got one admirer right there. Yeah, Professor Savage Dad. That's he's a gentleman and a scholar right there, and apparently he likes breastises right there. So as we saw earlier, and Mr. Scott Awesome, welcome right there. So and we have somebody named Deprogram with Keri Smith. What's up? There you go. But yeah, no, yeah, good to have you here. And this isn't going to be as structured as Friday Night Tights. I know that Gary runs a very smooth, well-oiled machine over there with no foul-ups, no nothing. He's always talking about gaming and his video gaming that he always does and that kind of thing. But we don't have quite the same thing over here. But I was going to ask, I was watching one of your episodes there, and I didn't know that you had this musical talent there, but you were singing about pronouns. And I wanted to see if you'd honor us with a little ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, he, him, her, he, ha, ha.
Oh man, well, I got wound up. I don't know if I can get back into it. I was making fun of Kamala Harris's. There's all these people now saying. I saw Kyle Kalinske was saying she wasn't woke. She didn't run as the woke candidate. She ran on the economy and immigration. And, anybody who says that she was running on women's issues and trans stuff and race stuff is lying to you. I'm like,
right.
Are we in the same reality? First
right.
of all, she ran on all of it, including the woke stuff.
Yeah.
But even her campaign website, where you could submit an application to work for her campaign, I don't know if you remember this, had 9 different pronoun options. And
sure.
It was like he, he, him, she, her, they, them. And then it went on to like E, I, O, E, E, U, R.
Wada, wada, bing, bang.
Wada, wada, bing, bang. Yeah. It just made me think of that old song because it was seriously like E, A, he, her, zer, zim. I'm like, just submit your application.
Right. Exactly.
That's her campaign site.
Yeah. Like, who comes up with these? Like, is somebody like sitting in front of a keyboard, like 10 years ago, whenever, and they're like, okay, we've got he, him, we got she, her, ZK / QP, and there's like this, doing like different letter combinations on a sheet of paper or something like that, and they're probably like, let's see if the world buys this. Holy shit, they did. They actually want to use these pronouns. What a bunch of suckers.
It's ridiculous. And I think what I want to know is how did they whittle it down to just 9 insane options? Because if you go and look, there are lists of, you can look up 100 pronouns and you'll find a list.
Oh yeah, right.
So they have tons of them. So that's more interesting to me is like, how did they select which ones of the crazy ones would make it on the list? Like,
right.
Like, how do you favor, right. Yeah, put that one on there.
Yeah. Was there like a pronouns March Madness bracket or something like that? They started out with like 820 of them, and they got all these brackets, and there's a bunch of drag queens meeting at sports bars, like going through their, hey, what do you got in your pronoun bracket, man? Oh, wait, let me cry. What do you got in that pronoun bracket over there? Well, I got them, and I got him, like they're just going through the bracket, like a bunch of dudes going through March Madness bracket.
Yes.
They're like, we finally got it. We whittled it down to 9.
We whittled it down.
Exactly.
Yeah, and all the people who had G-Jur like pissed. They're like, we didn't make it.
We didn't make the cut. So, but I'll just cry about it when I'm reading school books to kids at the neighborhood library right there. So, yeah, you and Gina Carano probably have to get together because I know she's got her beep bop boop. And maybe you guys could do like a little mashup, like a little Linkin Park Jay-Z mashup, kind of action going on there. So a little ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, a little beep, bop, boop.
Ting, tang, wada, wada, bing, bing.
You're like, what are you singing? Oh, it's that latest hit there from Keri Smith and Gina Carano right there. What, you're not down? You haven't heard that song? God, you're lame. My God, keep up with the times, man. Yeah, that would be very, very funny right there. But and I would be remiss if I didn't ask, like, how's the house restoration going there? Because I can't taking something on like that.
Thank you. It's going great. We have my husband and I have bought an old for American standards, built in 1914, and it was just a total from top to bottom. It needed everything. So we've been working on it for 3 years while we live here, and we just finished we do a lot of the rooms inside. So we do like this room. We took out a fireplace used to be right behind me. We do the sheetrocking painting. We refinish the floors, the ceiling, everything. But we can't do the outside. So we just had a big crew take down. They had to tear out the whole porch and balcony and then rebuild and paint. And it was a beast of a house. and that's finally complete, and I'm very happy. It looks great. I think that was a 12-week process.
Oh yeah, I bet. So do you ever like walk around the house? You're like, I did that.
Oh yeah.
I did that. Yeah.
Let me tell you, if you are thinking of renovating, you'll have friends and people who say, "Oh, you're crazy. What are you taking on?" And we had people say that about this house.
Sure.
But you also have people who encourage you to do it. We had friends who encouraged us to do it, and I'll be one of those. You should do it. It's so much fun. I mean, when you're in it, like doing this room, it's many, many weeks, and you're like, this is never going to end.
Right.
And that's frustrating. But then when you get to the end, it's so satisfying. You're like, I did these floors.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I did this caulking.
It's like people come over, you're like bragging on what you did there like for hours. Like, we get it. All right. You know your way around a caulk gun. All right.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Yes, exactly. There you go.
Okay. You didn't notice the caulking.
No, stare at it. Love it. Stare at it. Admire it. So yes. It's like, why is Keri giving me the side eye all night long? Like, because you didn't look at her caulking over there long enough right there. She's mad at you right now. So yes. Yeah, when you said this old house, I thought I couldn't help but think of Bob Vila, right? So,
oh yeah,
back in the day. So, rest in peace, Bob. There you go. So, yeah, I guess the modern equivalent to him would be like who are those twin brothers? I
don't know them. I know the ones in Waco because that's not too far from me. Joanna and Chip King.
Yeah,
I mean, they have built a whole empire out of remodeling TV shows.
Oh yeah,
different kinds of shows now. I mean, I think they started with one show and now they have a whole network.
I think so, right? Yep, exactly. I only know them because my mom is big into them, and basically kind of a funny story here, kind of an aside here, but so they came down to visit me here in DFW, and so this is back when I still watched the NFL, and so I was like, well, I need to figure out some stuff for me and mom and dad and my brothers and sisters to go do. So we went to AT&T Stadium and we took a tour of that. We were down on the 50-yard line looking around, and I'm looking around like, whoa, really big. Wow, this is really cool. Why they play NFL games here? Wow. And my dad was the same way, and then my brothers were the same way. And then my mom, she's just like looking around. Okay, all right, whatever. Okay. It's a big place, a lot of seats, big place. But so she was like, she didn't really think it was a big deal. But when we went down to Waco,
oh man,
to their little shop they have there, with all their little nooks and crannies and all that stuff, their little whatever they got down there, she was like a kid in a candy. Oh my God, look at all this! Wow!
Yeah.
The reaction that I thought she should have had at AT&T Stadium, but
it's like the whole town now. It's all known for Magnolia. It's no longer known for David Koresh. And it's I mean, it's pretty incredible that like the empire that they built. And I don't know if this is still true, but a couple years ago, I heard that Magnolia in Waco became the #1 most biggest tourist attraction in Texas, bigger than the Alamo.
Oh, okay.
Because of all the women like your mom who want to go see the Joanna Chip Gaines empire.
Right. Yeah. It's like the Muslim trek to Mecca or something like that.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's a bunch of housewives that like 5 times a day like turn towards Waco and they get down on their knees on a rug, and
yeah, but
it's south.
What kind of rug? That's very important. It's
right. It's gonna be a Magnolia
rug. Yeah.
It's like, it'd be funny. You went to Magnolia store, like, we know a lot of you pray to us, and so, but and we're not trying to be big on ourselves over there. But if you do, we've got some rugs we got prayer rugs over here.
Oh, can I tell you real quick? I know you have to get into your topic. But
oh yeah, you bet.
My husband and I were just in Europe for his music. He was there with his band, and in Germany, the demographics have changed so much because of open borders and everything.
Sure.
We were in a grocery store, and I saw these beautiful, like little Persian rugs, and I was like, "These are so cute. I've never seen them this size before." And I was looking through them and everything, and then I realized I'm picking through this whole area that's Muslim accoutrement, like prayer rugs. I didn't even realize. I'm like, oh, okay, right here in the grocery store next to the tomatoes.
Right. Yeah, times haven't changed there in Europe and whatnot. So yeah, it's like, because I think I was about to say, like, Muhammad's like the most popular name in England or London or something like that. And I was like, oh, did that change like recently? Like, no, that's been that way the last 20 years. Like, what?
Wow. Wow. That's an interesting statistic.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when the most popular name was Nigel. I want Nigel. And it went from Nigel to Muhammad. So there you go. Mr. Scott, awesome. You're going to know this, Keri. You ever been to the Germantown in Texas? Well, there's a few Germantowns. Yeah, there's Wahlberg, Fredericksburg there. So, yeah, there's a whole hill country.
I go to all of them. Fredericksburg, I'm there at least every other weekend. My husband plays out there a lot. I work out there a lot. And then Wahlberg is not too far from me. Wahlberg might be what you're thinking of because there are a lot of Germantowns, yes, but Wahlberg, I think, is known as the Germantown because it still has like an old fashioned German restaurant with the sauerkraut and the hot dog. Like it's very German themed. They have Oktoberfest and they have a lot of German musicians who moved there and perform there. So it's pretty interesting, like the music that you get to hear.
As long as I have Jaeger Schnitzel, I'm on board with that. I love that stuff right there. So yeah. It's terrible for you, but it's so good. So gotta love it. Now I wonder, is Wahlberg, is that as much of a tourist place as Fredericksburg, or is it a little bit more down?
Not at all. It's very out of the way. It's not a big tourist town. It's sort of this hidden little gem. Whereas Fredericksburg, as you probably know, is just overrun now. It's and it's a tourist mecca.
Oh yeah, it's packed to the gills whenever I go there. So because one of my folks came down here. We were stayed at Hill Country. I think we stayed down more. I forget where it was at. So off the interstate, but we went up to Fredericksburg. I remember, like my parents were like, "This is way too crowded. We don't want to stop here." When we went to Fredericksburg, so Mr. Scott, awesome. The one with German street signs right there. Yeah. So
I don't know if Wahlberg has those or not. I don't know. Now you've got me curious. I'll have to look it up.
You're making all kinds of research for yourself there, Keri, after the show. So there you go. So I suppose we should probably get into Gladiator. I mean, it's on the thumbnail and all that stuff, and so we should probably do that. But so you said you and your husband watched Gladiator. I'm assuming you guys saw it. You've seen it before, right?
Yeah, I saw. So it's 20-something years old now. Can you believe?
Yeah, 24 years. Yes,
oh my
over 24
gosh.
years. Yes.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, I saw it way back when it first came out, and my husband loves that movie. And right before, a couple weeks ago, before we went to Europe, it was we stayed at his uncle's house in Dallas, and everybody was watching it. It was on, and he's like, men love that movie.
Oh yeah.
So we saw it again.
It's awesome. Yeah, exactly. And I hear like women will like it too because I was watching a documentary and they were talking about one of the writers of Gladiator. He was talking about a lot of women like it too because Maximus isn't just like this one-note action star in it. He's not Rambo or he's not Seagal or anything like that. And you see it right off the bat in the movie because they show basically they show you the title card and then the little intro, kind of get you familiar with the world and that kind of thing. And then they show like someone's hand going through like a field of wheat, and that's Maximus like picturing Valhalla, right, or Elysium. That's what it is. And then he's like standing there, just kind of like taking in the terrain before the battle. He's like looking at this little bird, and the bird flies off, but he smiles, and like right then and there, you're like, oh, they're trying to portray like Maximus isn't just this thick-necked brute. He is, he's a man of action, but he's got emotion and sensitivity and that kind of thing. And so after you see the movie once and you hear about, his wife and son and that kind of thing, I see the whole bird scene right there, and I start thinking like, you probably saw the bird flying off. You probably thought of his son, and that's why we got the little wry grin right there. And so I think like them showing Maximus throughout the movie as this sensitive, loving man in addition to being a man of action. I think that's why I would guess that's probably at least one reason like women like the show too, because he's fighting for his family. Because Gladiator, really, when you think about it, the whole movie is about a guy. He's just trying to get home, and I think that would appeals to more than just the dudes. As a guy, I can appreciate that too, but I also like the kick-ass action, the blood and the guts and the gladiator and all that stuff. I like that as well.
He's the full package. Yes. Yeah. And is very a family man. All he wants to do is go home to his wife and kid. He wants to be a farmer. And throughout the whole movie, like as you mentioned, that sort of dream sequence where he's imagining being back at home, it's like throughout the whole movie, you even at the end, you get some scenes like that where he's seeing that again. And so it's that constant pull of being a father, being a husband, and being away from his family for so long is a big motivator for him.
Oh, right, exactly. And they were talking about, like, I think at one point, so earlier on when they were filming, they had to, I guess they decided Maximus was going to die at the end, but they're trying to figure out like a way to where him dying would be considered a victory or a good thing, him winning. And so they had to bring in another writer, and the writer came up with the idea, like, why don't we weave the afterlife into the movie, and we'll portray his wife and son in the afterlife, and so we'll make it where after he gets vengeance against Commodus, if he, when he dies, it's a win because he's being reunited with his wife and son, and then, that's why it hits you even harder when Lucilla at the end's like, go to them, and she's saying, yeah, go to your wife and son. And then you as a viewer, you watch that like, yeah, that's him. He's winning. He's getting his well-deserved reward. He basically he got his revenge, his vengeance against Commodus, and now he gets to go and be with his wife and son, for eternity. So it's a beautiful story.
Yes. And he's a hero. He dies a hero like that. I think that's the other reason men and women like, aside from just men liking it for the action parts, it's also that he's actually a good man. Like he's an admirable character. He's a man of good character.
Right.
And he's able to be dangerous when it's called upon. And he's also able to turn that off when it, he's not like Commodus. He's not this sadist who enjoys hurting people.
Right.
And so it's actually, I think we like the hero's story. We like the hero's journey. I wish we could get back to more movies that present that, and that's why people respond to it, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I think like Hollywood tries to be too smart by half sometimes. It tries to outsmart it. It outsmarts itself, and it just forgets, like, people just want a general a good hero story, a good hero's journey. You don't have to like try to butter it up and complicate it and all this stuff. Because Gladiator, when you break it down, it's a simplistic story. It's not the most complicated plot to it, but people love it, and it does follow a hero's journey. Scheme of storytelling and that kind of thing, but yeah, speaking of Maximus, so I thought that there's some parallels between Gladiator and some things that we're seeing today, because you were part of the left. I don't know if that's a way to put it there, but you were considered a left. You would consider yourself a leftist back in the day, right?
Yes.
And so obviously you get to a point where for a number of reasons, you left the left. Well, you probably said a left you, right? Not you leaving the left.
A little both. Yeah, the left. I, from my perspective at the time, I thought the left was changing, and now I'm not so sure, because I know some people who've been longtime conservatives who've told me no, it's always been that way. So I'm not really sure. I think it's a little of both. It was a little we amicably parted ways. Not amicably.
Right.
The left is like the Commodus. The left is like the vengeful, spiteful person who wants all power, and how dare you leave me. And when he's telling his sister at the end that she can't harm herself, because if she does, he will kill her son. Like, it's just like, you will not, like, you're gonna stay here and be with me.
Right.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
The last little, like, oh, you think you're gonna leave?
If you decide to do the honorable thing and take your own life, then yes.
We're gonna burn everything down. We're gonna burn down your reputation. We're gonna tell everybody, but it's
you don't leave the left without them saying, we're going to murder you out in the forest, and then we're going to go to your house, we're going to murder your wife and son and burn them, and we're going to kill all your workers and whatnot. Like, the left does not take disagreement well.
No.
So yeah.
No, and you basically, it's like you're leaving a religion in a way, the way I view it, and so you're like an apostate. They hate apostates. How dare you? You left the faith.
Right, exactly. I kind of think of it like slaves back in the day. They're trying to escape the plantation and whatnot. It's like, yeah, you don't just leave the plantation, and then the plantation owner's like, well, hey, good luck to you. Yeah, we'll leave you alone. Good luck in your travels and your future. No, they like send dogs and people after you and try to hunt your ass down and try to kill you and all that stuff. And that's the same as the left right there. It's like they're not really big on that whole agree to disagree thing. It's like you better believe every syllable and every word of the leftist scripture, or it's your ass.
Yeah, and they actually did. In my case, a friend came to Texas and did what I view as an ideological intervention, and said that many other of our friends had talked to her about my concerning posts and the things I was thinking about and talking about and questioning. And so I think that was sort of the last ditch. Actually, she told me you're not just, she said, you're leaving the tribe. And once you're not just leaving the tribe, like we view you as attacking the tribe. And once you leave, you'll never be allowed back. And then after that happened, it was like, then all of the online stuff started with people that used to be my friends, including one so-called journalist, feminist media critic, who started saying I had become a right-wing, red-pilled troll, Nazi troll, and all kinds of just like the defamation and all that stuff starts. Like if you leave Scientology, it's like you're not getting out of here without a we're gonna scar you.
Right. Exactly. Okay. I got hugs for Keri from Mr. Scott Awesome right there.
Oh,
so
thanks.
yeah, exactly. You got people on your side there, whatnot. But it's like, it's just kind of weird that they call it a tribe, because it's like, what happened to just human beings living on this planet, all having their own opinions and whatnot. And you didn't call people that happen to have the same opinions the tribe, right, or the cult or something like people just let people believe what they want to believe and whatnot, as long as it's not infringing on you. Then just let it be, agree to disagree, all that stuff right there. But yeah, they just to me it seems like, so the reason that they get mad when somebody leaves their tribe is because they're not quite convinced what they believe is correct either. And with every person that leaves, it adds another seed of doubt in their mind. Like, maybe I'm not as correct as I think. There's 3 more people that left. God, now I'm even more. Oh shoot, there's 5 more people that left. Now I doubt even more what I believe right there, because I think deep down they know it's wrong. So.
It's like when people leave cults, and the more people that leave the cult and start speaking against it, then you see eventually over time the cult is more likely to break down. It doesn't always, but more likely, because then people have left it, they're speaking against it. Like the NXIVM cult is a great example of that, I think. And so I think it's pretty similar. They're like, oh well, now this person's left. I think when you leave it, you have to speak against it. You owe it to the people who are still in that world.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. You don't pull the ladder up, behind you. Help people out and provide them, an escape or, a story of hope or a tale of hope. Let them know that you don't have to stay there. Yeah, you can get out. I mean, it's been done before. Look at Keri. Look at everybody else that's gotten out. But yeah, it's just too bad that people have just gotten so cultish with things and whatnot. But speaking of you leaving the cult, one parallel, one part of Gladiator that I thought it kind of equated to you leaving the left there and getting out of there is when Commodus offers his hand to Maximus after Maximus sees that Marcus Aurelius, the Caesar is died or was murdered, and Commodus is like, I offer my hand. I offer it only once. And Maximus is like, oh, no, I'm leaving. I'm out of here. I know you murdered. Yep, exactly. See ya, there, I mean, just look at you'll see you, wouldn't want to be you. And so, I that's what I kind of equate, like you or anybody else leaving the left, is that something sinister, some malevolent force is offering their hand to you, and you turn it down for good reason, right? You were talking about like the safety pin thing there, which I didn't know what that was when I watched that episode when you were on there with Gavin McInnes. I was like, safety pin thing. I was like, I felt so uncool. I was like, I don't know what the safety pin thing is.
It's kind of like now how they're wearing the blue bracelets. It's very similar.
Okay.
You know about the blue bracelets?
I don't know that. I see. Again, I'm very uncool. So
they're doing the same. Basically, when Trump won in 2016, I was still in that world. I was slowly leaving at the beginning of that path out. And there's a lot of weird things I was noticing, but one of the things I noticed was right after Trump won, in 2016, all the people on the left started wearing safety pins, and there were all numerous articles about it. All the woke stuff was like, if you're a white person, you need to wear a safety pin to show people of color that you're an ally and that you're safe. And so everybody was wearing these stupid safety pins. And then here's what's funny. And I was looking at this like, this is ridiculous, as if people of color are going to be rounded up or something's going to happen to them. And then they, as always happens, they started eating their own. And then all of those same publications that had been pushing the safety pins, like white people should do this, then they started doing articles criticizing it and saying, oh, you white people wearing the safety pins, you just want to be thought of as a good white person, which it's accurate. That is why they were wearing them.
That's
but then they
exactly
start attacking them. And so then I saw in my echo chamber, because I was still in the woke, my social media was still like, I had whittled it down over the years to just woke people. And they're all posting. I saw people asking like, this is a question just for my friends who are people of color. Nobody else answer. Do you want me to wear the safety pin or not? You know?
Right.
Like what? Oh my God, you're an adult. Just figure out like, like, a black person, tell me what to do.
Right. Can I breathe? Can I exhale now? Okay. Can I inhale now? Can I exhale now? Can I inhale? You're like, yeah. Can I wear shoes today? Like, yeah, it's amazing right there. Yeah.
So Van, they're doing it again. So after Trump just won 2 weeks ago, they're all wearing blue bracelets now. So get ready for them to turn on all the people that they told to wear blue bracelets.
Right, exactly. So the blue bracelets is, so you wear them to signify to people of color that you're not going to harm them. Is that what it is?
Yeah, and gay people, and it's like we're allies.
The marginalized people.
Yeah, the marginalized people need to know that I'm a good one. You know? And,
you know what? You know that's due to though. You know what it is, because I think it's one of the bad effects of us being in peacetime for so long, relative peacetime. Like we haven't had a world war, right? We've had Afghanistan, Iraq, but those have all been across the pond, right? Those have all been across the ocean. I mean, I guess World War II was as well. But World War II and World War I, particularly World War II, was just, it affected the world so much, and affect us in the States, right? People had to have victory gardens, and men were off fighting, and the women were here doing the Rosie the Riveter thing and whatnot. It really affected everybody. And we're always in constant fear of, hey, the Japs are going to come and invade LA, and they're going to invade us and whatnot. So, it was truly wartime. It was a time of conflict and struggle, and oh my God, we don't know what's going to happen next, right? And we haven't had anything like that in decades, right? And so I think people, they have to start inventing struggle, right? They have to start inventing something to rally against. Everyone wants to feel like they're Rosa Parks, like. You get all these white people, like we're talking about the white people, and Martha's Vineyard, like, I stand up for people of color. Basically, what they're saying is, hey, Rosa Parks, suck it. I'm the I'm the better civil rights activist right here. Me, Tracy Abramowitz. I'm like the I'm the bigger leader for civil rights, bigger than you, MLK Jr. But yeah, they have to invent this struggle because they feel like their life has no meaning because there's no big struggle for them to rally against. They can't just have satisfaction and, hey, go to the movies, go to Starbucks, eat a nice meal, enjoy the peace that, the people storming the beaches of Normandy fought for,
Yeah. They are inventing struggle. You're exactly right. And they want to, everybody, I think, to some degree, obviously wants to see themselves as the hero of their own story or the hero of the story.
Right.
And, but the thing is, the way that this movie that we watch, for example, like I said, this is the hero's journey. Yeah. And it's because I think it's because he shows good character, and like that part that you mentioned, for example, where he doesn't bow and kiss the ring of the evil guy of Commodus. Yeah, so that's character. He knows that something bad might happen to him, but he does the right thing anyway. That's what's at the top of his hierarchy of meaning is, virtues. He has virtues on that. There's even a part in the movie where Common, how funny, where he's talking about how his dad gave him a list of virtues and he realizes he doesn't have any of those.
Right. I have virtues too, but none of them were on your list. Yes.
Right. Because dude, yours are not virtues.
Right. And, exactly. How would you feel if you were a kid, like your dad hands you like a list of virtues, like, nope. Man, I suck.
Right. And so I think they're just trying to be the hero of their own story, but in the wrong way. They're pursuing vices, not virtues. They're pursuing just all the things that are bad.
Right.
Pride, ego, all of that.
Yeah.
They don't practice. I think temperance was on that list.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yep.
Thomas is like, nope. Nope.
Good breath, 6-pack abs. Nope. I
don't have any of these. Yeah. And so they're about all of the opposite. I mean, think about the left. It's not temperance, it's hedonism.
Right. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
It's all of the opposite. It's all the things you shouldn't. That's not going to lead to a good life.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I'm sorry I'm preaching.
No. By all means, you are in the right place for that, sister. Testify. Amen. Yeah, there you go. Right there. But yeah, it's like it's self-flatulation disguised as like sympathetic activism, or they're just like, hey, I feel for you, person of color. Is everybody watching while I care about the person of color? Is everybody watching?
Yeah.
Well, I want eyes on. I want people to see me, caring about the person of color. Yeah.
It's sort of like if you look at their policies. So I was just talking to a business owner in Temple, Texas. I don't know if you know Temple. And
I've heard of it. Yeah.
So we were talking about their growing homelessness problem there in this, what used to be a quiet little town, and how they're doing a lot of the leftist stuff there, it sounds like. So they have all these different, things where they had spent a bunch of people's money, taxpayers' money, to create this food trailer park. This is supposed to be super nice place to plug in food trailers, and they had it, and they put picnic tables out, and people were going there, but they didn't build any public restrooms. And so when they were questioned about it, they were like, well, we couldn't because of all the homeless people, and they would use them. And so then on top of that, so instead of patrolling or coming up with something to disincentivize homelessness, they want to appear to care about homeless people, which actually means if you're doing policies the way leftists do, your town's going to attract more homeless people because you're not doing anything about the problem.
Right.
So then the homeless people started breaking into all the food trucks and robbing them and stuff. And they instead of patrolling or whatever, you know what they did? After spending all that money creating it, they tore it all down and removed all the food trucks. They're like, but I'm sorry for that, inserting that anecdote, but I just had this conversation right before coming here to do this, and I was just thinking about, once again, it's about how you appear. And if you do a policy because you have a certain policy towards homelessness, like in Austin, for example, they did this for a while. They said homeless people can camp wherever they want.
Right.
Which led to them camping all in front of small businesses. And one of a boot shop that I was working at, a cowboy boot shop, I showed up one day and there's human feces in front of the store and a person passed out. And they're like, sorry, nothing we can do because we voted for this because we care about homeless people. No, you don't. You don't care about them. And even if you think you do, look at the consequences of the policy and see, is it helping people to get out of homelessness? Is it actually doing what you thought it would do or not?
Nope, exactly. Yeah. It's almost like they want to pretend they care about homeless people because somebody conservative that they know that they don't care about homeless people. So I'm trying to differentiate myself from that George W. Bush voter that I know does not care about homeless people.
Yes, so, that's what they think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I want to delineate myself from them right there. And Mr. Scott Awesome is kicking some knowledge over here. Rosa Parks wasn't even the original person there, and says they had to remanufacture the back of the bus around Rosa because a pregnant teacher wasn't good optics to rally around there. So, okay.
Well, that's so, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, that would change today because, pregnant teenager, that's not the shameful thing today as it was back then, but yeah, that's some interesting knowledge right there, Mr. Scott. Awesome, bringing the knowledge here. But another comparison about Gladiator that I thought was so Joe Biden. He reminded me of communists wanting to get rid of the Senate, or basically reminding me of communists trying to get rid of the Senate because I don't know if you remember here, but I think it was a couple of State of the Unions ago. I think it was right after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, and Joe Biden is up there, and obviously the Supreme Court's there in the chamber, and Joe Biden is just giving him the business. He's just pointing down on him like, and you guys decided to overturn Roe v. Wade or something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing right here.
Mm-hmm.
And him just chastising an entire other branch of government in front of everybody in the chamber and all the millions of people in the world watching the State of the Union. That just kind of reminded me of communists wanting to get rid of the Senate and shaming them and thinking that he's so powerful and that he's got it. It's his right to just get rid of an entire branch of government there. So Joe Biden was reminding me of one aspect of Gladiator there.
Well, another leftist too. They were talking about and they're still talking about they want to remake the Supreme Court. Why? Because they want to remake it in a way that's corrupt and tilted in their favor, or they think would be tilted in their favor. They're like this about everything. I mean, leading up to the election, I watched a lot of footage of some of the top Democrats, people that are household names like Hillary Clinton, like John Kerry, AOC. And I watched clips of them talking about on camera, saying the quiet part out loud and saying that the problem with a democracy is the Constitution and specifically the First Amendment, and that they need to get enough power that they can basically what John Kerry was saying in his clip was not have to worry about that. Like, just sort of, okay, we'll just go around it. This is why we need absolute power to do what we want, and it's, that's always that's how tyrants speak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like and they call us totalitarians and fascists. There. I mean, they have the fascist part down because they're big on via their Antifa wing. Like, you better believe what we believe, otherwise we're going to club you in the head, right? You better believe what we believe, otherwise we're coming to your town. We're going to break windows and burn buildings down and that kind of thing. Like, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but last time I checked, that's pretty much like the textbook definition of a fascist. Like, you better believe what I believe, or I'm going to do something bad to you.
Yeah, and they do it on the small scale too, the interpersonal scale. I mean, that's all the people right now threatening and telling their family members and stuff that they're not going to interact with them anymore. They're not going to come to Thanksgiving or holidays because they didn't vote the way that they wanted them to. It's like, who's supposed to have a relationship like that? It's sort of, hey, do what I want and vote the way I want, or you'll never see me again. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
Bye. But it is very much like do this or this threat, It's tyrants. It's the mentality of a tyrant.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm sure there's probably a lot of families like, oh, good. So liberal Aunt Patty's not going to be at our Thanksgiving, again. She's giving us an ultimatum. She says she's not showing up. Like, cool. All right. Well, thank you very much right there. Don't threaten us with a good time right there. I mean, we're trying to figure out a way to get rid of you here, but you're going to do us the favor there. But this just got awesome. Says, Claudette Colvin there, but I'm guessing that's the pregnant teenager there in the bus there, and then said, I haven't confirmed it, but I heard that Rosa Parks may have been a member of the Communist Party. Yeah. So, yeah, you never know. So, but it's and then like when Maximus is second in command says, remember kind of towards the beginning where they're saying talking about the messenger that they sent out to presumably give them terms of surrender, and then the guy comes back without a head, is on the horse, and Maximus's second in command was like, people should know when they're conquered. And it just, to me, when he said that, especially, Maximus is like, would you know that you're conquered? Would I know that we're conquered? Mm-hmm. And that guy's arrogance saying that people should know when they're conquered just kind of reminds me of like when the Marxist elite in this country think that they basically say that we should go away, that we should know that we're conquered there because I'm sure you've heard of this before, but we've got the Marxists that have control like pretty much everything, right? I mean, academia, Hollywood, entertainment, just all kinds of all these institutions that we know, and it's from their long march through the institutions there. And so they've taken over so much stuff that they're at the point where they're literally thinking that, like, conservatives, God-fearing people, they should all know when they're conquered. They should just, they should just, bow down to us and just give up. And it's just that arrogance, right? I can't stand that arrogance. We see it in mainstream media, just the way that they talk. It's just that arrogance. And so that's the great thing about this election we just had, is that they just got
rebellion.
Yeah, they got like a big handful of shit right in their face, like, whoa, there's some resistance here,
Yeah, it's a little bit of a rebellion. They're not taking it well.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased with it. I have high hopes. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I hope at the very least he can do some of the stuff he said he was going to do about reducing the size of the federal government. And, that's probably top of my list right now.
Oh, yeah. He's got a couple of good guys to do it there. He's got Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy there. So got Beyond Formal in here. Hey, buddy. All right. Welcome to the show there, Beyond Formal. And Beyond Formal's got a great show on Rumble. Check that out there as well. And it's just got awesome. Howdy, fellow Fed. So apparently we got the guys in the Patriot Front. The guys with the mask there. Who all went to the same khaki and polo shirt store that we see sometimes there, Keri. You see seems like once every couple of weeks or something, you see a video on X. And like, oh, yep, there's the Feds. Like they're marching down some street of some other, city. So. Yeah, it's just crazy right there. But yeah, I'm with you too. I hope that Trump, I hope he's more take no prisoners this time, because I hope he learned his lesson. Because in his first term, he tried to be Mr. Nice Guy, because his crowds were always chanting like "lock her up, lock her up." Of course, obviously about Hillary Clinton, and then he got in office. It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna press charges. I'm not gonna investigate her. I'm not gonna put her in jail, because it's the right thing to do for the country. And how did the Democrats repay his niceness, his kindness? Oh, we just did Russia. And then once he planned on, running again, and, we tried to throw him in jail a bunch of times and take all his money and whatnot. And so I'm hoping that Trump learned, like, being nice and trying to be the bigger person in politics is not going to win you any kind of grace or anything like that. So you might as well go for broke. And so that's why I like this Matt Gaetz pick, for AG, like, take no prisoners, go scorched earth.
Although Matt Gaetz did say before he stepped down, we're not going after Trump's enemies. He's making that clear, because that's the lie they were trying to push about him. You know why? Because that's what they do. They've done nothing but go after him. Even while he wasn't president, they've continued to go after him. They found a DA in New York willing to prosecute him for trumped up charges, like ridiculous charges, and to convict. And that's what they did, and that's what they said he was going to do.
Right.
What I don't need to see him go after political enemies. What I do want to see him do is go after people who likely need to pay some consequences for deceiving, frauding the American people. Like, I would like to see tribunals about our COVID response, for example. I'd like to see Fauci on the stand. There are some people who I think probably are guilty. I don't know. I would like to see charges brought and then see.
Nuremberg 2.0. That's what I want to see. Nuremberg 2.0. Yeah, let's get Gates on the stand and what's her face with the bedazzled scarves. What's her that I forget what the other doctor that was on the COVID team there in the White House was, but
I forget her name. But just the fact that
all of them.
Yeah, that's a whole nother. There's so much there that I hope that they get into, and instead of just saying, well, that's in the past. No, because that's going to if there are no consequences to pay for that behavior, that's going to happen to us again down the road. Trump's only in office for 4 years. It's just a reprieve. And so the idea that the government has the authority to force some people to take a shot, or to coerce it, or to force it. In the case of some federal employees, they forced it, to coerce it, to also demonize and make it hard to get medications, which have never been controversial.
Right.
And then, to go a step further and to say, I mean, I'm someone who I would never was on board with some of their extreme measures, like closing schools, mass on kids, like stuff like that. It needs to be investigated. What did they know versus what they were saying?
Right,
And
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
I don't mean to
yeah.
I'm not trying to get your channel banned.
Oh yeah. What a good cause for that, right? And, and now actually they allow it, right? They allow a little bit more of it now.
A little bit more.
Yeah, there's still some sacred cows, that
yeah,
they will
I
not
know.
they will not let you make hamburgers out of some of their sacred cows still. So
yes, and I found out what one of those is because I had a video taken down and they forced me to edit it. So I was like, oh, okay. So there's, like you said, there's still some things I'm not supposed to say that are true.
Right. Exactly. Well, I mean, about like Trump, like going after people, like, I would just term it like it's not revenge or targeting your political enemies. It's accountability.
Yes, I want justice, not revenge, and those are two different things. Justice is not revenge, and I want justice.
Yeah, it's justice, accountability. Term it that way, label it that way, because that's what it should be. There, like you were saying right there, and do it not really for the media, because even if you call it accountability and retribution, and you rightfully go after people because they rightfully should be gone after, it's not because you're a vindictive prick, right? You're going after because they did it to you and it damaged the country and whatnot. So call it accountability and justice, whatnot. And but the mainstream media is going to call it revenge no matter what you do.
They're going to call it that no matter what.
Yeah, so don't worry about them. Yeah.
I mean, the charges against Trump, for example, that was not justice.
Yeah. No, that was not. Yeah, when they have to cobble together a bunch of misdemeanors, so much so that it turns into a felony, and then they have to what do they have to they extended the statute of limitations in order to put those felonies together to turn, or those misdemeanors together to turn it into a felony.
And they said the misdemeanors were about a felony that they didn't even prosecute for. It's kind of like how they got Martha Stewart. I don't know if you know this, but she ended up being convicted not of insider trading, but of lying about possible insider trading that they never convicted for because they didn't have enough evidence. And it's like, wait a minute, how did she get found guilty for lying about a supposed crime that you never proved was a crime?
Right, exactly, yeah.
And that's what they did to Trump.
Yeah, because you put those misdemeanors together and turn it into a felony because they said, well, it's because it's tied to this underlying conspiracy, whatever. And people ask, well, what's the conspiracy? And they could never name the conspiracy.
And they were like, it was a conspiracy to overthrow the election results. Okay, well then prove that in a court of law.
Right.
But instead you're going to say, oh, we're going to find you guilty of these misdemeanors to try and do this thing that we're not willing to prosecute for because we don't have evidence. But
right. Yeah. They put together, a case with bubble gum and duct tape and spit and all this stuff to try to get him. Because if his name is Donald Zelensky or something, or Donald Jenkins, they wouldn't care. If he was like, some Democrat billionaire, they wouldn't care. But because he's Donald Trump, they're like, okay, what do we got? We got to put some together. We got to put eye of newt, wing of bat. We got to put all these charges together and whatnot and try to get him. So because of that, I have no problem with him going after them. But I think you got to call it accountability and justice for the normie norms, all right? Because if the normie norms here, you say it's revenge, I'm targeting my political enemies, well, you're going to lose the normie norms you got during the election, and you need to keep those guys right there. Don't worry about Joy Reid, Rachel Maddow, Morning Joe. I mean, I know Morning Joe's pretending to kiss Trump's ass right now, but that'll change in 2 weeks. But don't worry about what they're going to call it. They're going to call it revenge, whatever, But for the normie norms, soften it. Well, just not even soften it. Call it what it is: accountability and justice.
Yeah, just as an example for anybody who's not that familiar with the charges against Trump. So Congress has a fund set up called the Office of Compliance. And what we know, and you can also find this in leftist publications like CNN, also agree that this happened. The Office of Compliance has paid out over $17 million. That's our money, taxpayer money, in settlements to squash sexual abuse allegations against congressmen. Okay. So they've spent our money to do that. And that's cool.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
And what they're saying Trump did that they convicted him of was they said that there was some notation that he made incorrectly or his team made incorrectly in his accounting books.
Yeah.
And that money was actually used as hush money to squash allegations that someone made against him. His own money, by the way.
Right.
But they say that's what it was for. He says that's not what it was for, and so they convict him on that. Meanwhile, $17 million over here in taxpayer money, our money that we know without a doubt has been paid.
Oh yeah.
To pay off people who had sexual abuse allegations against congressmen, and we're cool with that. What?
Yeah.
Like
exactly. Yeah, but enough about Eric Swalwell though. So
yeah, you're right.
yeah, Mr. Scott Awesome. Biden's team sent a DOJ lawyer from DC who resigned his position, from my understanding, to work with New York DAs. Yeah, that's true. He did. He took a demotion because his position in DC was actually a higher status position. And he leaves DC and goes to New York and whatnot.
Wow.
So that's how
that part of it.
Yeah, that position he took in New York is considered lower status than the DC one right there. So this guy really wanted Trump, or they really wanted to send him down there to get Trump right there. And hey, we got I'm Sean Cab here in there right there. It says hello, Keri, Van, and chat. And how are we doing tonight there? But we'll see what happens right now. I was surprised, it was beyond formal. I mentioned Gates, pulling out today, and I posted earlier. It's like, to me, like on the surface, it's a pure pussy move to me. But then I also added, like, unless you have an angle that I'm not aware of, that we're not aware of, and whatnot. Because if he does this and then, in a week he announces like, hey, I'm going to be this or that, or I'm going to do this, like this is part of my master plan, then I don't want to have too much egg on my face. I want to be like, I knew he was up to something. I knew that wily Gates was up to something. But right now, where we sit, it looks like, what the hell? Like they made enough noise to make Matt Gates fold like a pair of cheap socks. Like that's weird.
It makes it look like there's something to the allegation. So either it was a bad decision and a weak strategy, or there could be something to the allegation. That's the way the average person is going to look at that. And I can tell you, obviously, everyone on the left's going to say, oh, there's something to the allegations.
Right.
So unless it was part of some 5D chess or whatever that we don't know about, it just seems like that's pretty weak move to step down. Unless there was something to the allegations, in which case you should step down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You're right. Yeah, I don't care what letter you have behind your name. If he actually did it, then he should be gone. Like Heg said, if what he did, or if he did some salacious sexual stuff or something, then he should be gone too. And that's like, I mean, and I'm sure you're probably the same. Like, we don't wear anybody's jersey, right? It's like, if you did wrong, DRI for independent, whatever, Green Party, you should step down and just go away.
Yeah, I haven't heard all the allegations against Hegseth, so I'm not familiar with those. I know that he was, cheated and stuff, but that's a little different than some of the allegations they were lobbying against Gates, as far as I know.
Oh yeah, exactly. So, well, I mean, that's what I don't get is there was a DOJ investigation into Gates that was open for 3-4 years or something like that,
and they found nothing, right?
They found nothing. Yeah, they filed no charges whatsoever. And as much as they hate Matt Gates, if they could find anything, they would charge him with something like that. But they couldn't even find anything on the guy. No. So that's why I'm like, what's with this ethics committee investigation and all that? Like, how does that have anything if the DOJ was investigating him for 3 years? Now this ethics committee is going to come up with something, and it better be more than just some woman they pull out of the woodwork going, "Oh, he raped me, he did this and whatnot." Like Christine Blasey Ford, anybody, So they always do that.
That was when I didn't have any questions about that. They tried to railroad Kavanaugh completely. That was speaking of hero's journey and a good man, like, I am convinced, of course, I don't know him personally, so how could I know for sure? But my gut reaction on that man is that he's a man of good character, and they really tried to pull out all the stops at smearing him and would go to any length. That was that was one of the really kind of another like specific pinpoint that I can go back to in my leaving the left journey, because it's like, wow, what you're willing to do to this man. And then when he showed real emotion, you talk about this character Maximus being, both. He has emotion. He's a full human, and he's also able to be dangerous when necessary. Kavanaugh showed human emotion as he would, and they mocked him for it. And that just really made me sick to my stomach that they would laugh at him for that. Given that he was talking about how when he was emotional, how it had affected his little girl, his daughter, and he was recounting a story about her praying for the people who were persecuting him. And if that to me, I was like, that's a good man.
Like, exactly. Because you could tell to me, I got the same impression. Like, he's innocent because he got raw and emotional with that. And you think about it, like, if you were being falsely accused and you knew deep in your heart, I didn't do any of these things that they're accusing me of, and I keep hearing from them that they think I did it, and in the country I live in, a lot of people are thinking that I did it, I would get emotional too. I get furious. I get to the point where I would snap there. And you could tell he had tears welling up in his eyes when he was going through all that stuff. It's like a guilty person's would be like, they're not going to show that kind of emotion, right?
No, or
they know they're guilty.
They're going to fake tears, and he was doing the opposite. He was trying not to cry.
Right.
Like,
he's trying to be strong. Right.
Yes, he was trying not to cry. It's not like Amber Heard where she's like trying to squeeze forth tears.
Right.
It's the exact opposite of that. Yeah.
You're showing you're a shitty actress even in court. You could you get effective tears going right there. But you're right. A lot of people, like they said, like a lot of people had left the left. That was one of the big things right there. Is like, this is that was huge. Like, here's a guy who looks like he's a family man, and all of a sudden, it's because whenever there's like a big position opening up, like a Supreme Court justice or attorney general or some cabinet position like we're seeing right now, I always, whenever those open up, I was like, okay, I wonder how long we have to wait for that mysterious woman or the mysterious man to come out, and like who's going to be the new name we're all going to learn, like with Brett Kavanaugh, Christine Blasey Ford, and then, I can't think of any other examples, but there's always some woman that comes out where she felt like she was so violated and there was so much injustice that she couldn't come out and say anything about it and really press the issue until 37 years later, when the guy that supposedly did it is up for a big position. Like, wait, why are we just hearing your name now? And then of course when Brett Kavanaugh got confirmed, and all of a sudden you didn't hear about Christine Blasey Ford anymore. You're like, if this is such an injustice, why aren't they pressing the case after he got confirmed? Like,
and there was no evidence. That's why they're not pressing it. They were just trying to smear him enough that he would drop out. Like, they really wanted to break him, and they didn't care what it did to his family. And there was, people at the time who I knew in the left it was very popular for them to spout the slogan, I believe women. And I'm like, well, I don't. I believe evidence. So show me the evidence. It doesn't have anything to do with some blanket statement about genders, like, oh, women tell the truth and men don't. No.
Right.
All people are capable of lying. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So show me the evidence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, I believe women, unless there's a D behind the name of the accused right there. Like Joe Biden gets that Tasha or whatever it is. She accuses him of sexually assaulting her, and they're like, yeah, lady, get out of here with your fake accusations. Wow, wait, what happened? I believe all women. What the hell? What happened to me too?
They don't follow any of their own rules. They're like it's like Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals. Like, they try and make their enemy live up to their standards that they will never live up to, and they don't do any of the things they say they do. I mean, they say the same thing about, white people need to shut up and listen to people of color, unless that person of color is a conservative, and then you can talk all over them, woke white person. Don't. No, right. It's basically they don't follow their own rules.
Right, exactly. And it doesn't do any good to call them hypocrites, because they don't care. They're like,
they don't care.
They just keep forging on, and so that's why I think they need to be held accountable. I almost slipped there. They need to be held accountable, and let them know about this thing we like to call mutually assured destruction. If you go after our Brett Kavanaugh, bad example, but I mean, like, if you're going to try to come up with frivolous charges against your political opponents, then we're gonna punish you for that, because we're trying to stop it from happening.
Yeah, punishment's the right word. Punishment is, that's part of justice. If you've committed a crime, that's part of justice. Our legal system is set up that way. It's, that's why you go to prison if you steal something, harm someone. That's the idea, is you are being punished for that infraction, because you're the person that the law exists for, that can't self-govern.
Right, right.
And stand by the people's
Exactly.
business.
Exactly. Send them to the Coliseum, as punishment right there. Make them fight some gladiators,
But now when you do that, that's an injustice, because what did he do? What did Maximus do?
Yeah, exactly. He didn't do it. He did nothing wrong. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he basically just, he was a slave. Then they turned him into a gladiator and all that stuff. And apparently he could handle himself. He was good to go right there. But yeah, a minute ago you talked about like they don't follow their own rules. There, the rules are good enough for you, but not for them, right? And I was thinking about that, like with, I think on not your last episode, maybe the episode before that, you were talking about, John Oliver was talking about, the trends taking over the girls' sports, and he's talking about how there was only a few instances of it, so why are you making a big deal of it, and that whole issue right there, it makes me wonder, like, yeah, where are the feminists at? Like, they made these rules where, we're supposed to empower females, we're supposed to empower women, and that's the rule. Like, we're supposed to empower them, but then when you get dudes that feel pretty, invading women's sports, like feminists were like, "Hey, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where you at?"
Yeah, they ousted any feminists who basically wouldn't bow and kiss the ring on this issue, who showed integrity, or at least, the ability to think for themselves and form their own opinion.
Yeah.
And they became apostates like me. Like, there were feminists like Megan Murphy, that she used to be very prominent, or considered very prominent, third wave feminist and Canadian feminist. And they came after her so hard, like the feminist movement came after its own, because she didn't toe the line on this issue. Right. So there are some of them, but you're right. It's not the majority. The majority of the feminist movement is like thrown in with woke. So
right.
There's one of my heroes, everyone should check out, is Dr. Linda Blade, Coach Blade on X. Okay. And she, I would say, is, I don't know if she calls herself a feminist, but by the old school definition, she certainly is. And she is a badass. Like, she's an Olympic coach, and she's been pushing this issue for years. And I think a lot of if you're looking for women who are vocal on this issue, Coach Linda Blade is someone to follow.
Okay. Yeah. Coach Linda Blade. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody check her out on X right there. I like what Riley Gaines is doing there. Yes. I know she's like the biggest name, but I'm sure she's not. Yes. There's plenty of others out there as well. But it's too bad that it's Riley Gaines that has to do it, and not like more fathers of the women that are on these teams and whatnot. Like, and I don't know if you ever check out the Steve Dace show. He's on the Blaze as well. I love that guy because he's like, where are the men? Why the women? Like the women are more manly than the men. Yes, I do watch his show. I like him. I haven't seen it in a while, but I've seen clips of it. I know who you're talking about. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I know the Blaze. Like he's on Blaze, but he does his own independent thing there as well. And yeah, I first saw him because I'm a big Michigan Wolverines fan, and he has a Michigan show. And then somehow I learned like he had a political show, and so I started watching him. And he's kind of like me, where I kind of like to, talk political, but weave in pop culture and sports and all that into there. And he does the exact same thing. But yeah, one of his big through lines in his show is challenging the men. And, he's talking about, hey, sports bros, why don't you get as excited about, your little girl's sports team being invaded by some dude with dick and balls, like invading your girl's sports team, as you do about the Kansas City Chiefs going to the playoffs this year. Like, why don't you make that like do you even know like when your daughter's next swim meet is, but you probably know like, the top 30 last draft picks of, the Oakland, the Vegas Raiders there. And so that's a big thing that I agree with them on. It's like, yeah, the dads should be out there, helping out their little girls and that kind of thing, or, so like, I don't get it.
Billboard Chris is a friend of mine. He's another great example of a dad who's out there doing a lot of work on this issue. And no, I think Steve is right. And people, look, that's the way to be. We were talking about being the hero of your own story before. Like, that's the way to be the hero of your own story, is to actually take a stand for something that's meaningful. And I would say in pursuit of virtues of justice, right?
Sure.
In pursuit of the good things and not the bad things. And yeah, I think there are more parents now starting to get it. Like, I think the election, for me anyway, it's a good sign about hopefully where we're headed culturally, because politics is, that famous quote about politics is downstream from culture, and I think that's true. And so hopefully culturally people are saying that they're sick of it. And I know anecdotally amongst people I know, that seems to be the case. There are a lot more people who just a few short years ago would never have spoken ill of any part of woke doctrine, who are now, I think, at least to me, feeling more comfortable saying, I don't agree with XYZ, by the way. And I'm like, oh, someone's getting a little red pilled, are they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look at you there. I'm so proud of you. Yes. They grow up so fast, Yeah. Yeah, because I know that's what I'm glad that he won the popular vote, is I'm hoping more people that were wondering, like, am I by myself? Am I in the minority? Like, on the conservative, like, I don't know if there's people out there, like, if I stand up at the school board meeting, if I go into, if I go to the, to the swim meet and I start standing up against, this dude who feels pretty on the team, like, is somebody going to stand with me? And I think hopefully it emboldens more people and lets them know, like, apparently, hey, I'm not the only one that thinks this is bullshit. Like, Trump won, he got the popular vote. Yeah, I mean, you're not the only one. So hopefully it emboldens him. Like, you know what? I was scared a couple months ago, and now I'm not so scared. Now I'm going to put my big boy pants on and go to the school board meeting or wherever, however you can stand up for what's right. So that's encouraging.
Yeah. And you're not alone. And even if you're one of the few voices, like, you will find other people. And I spoke at this year, I went to an Austin City Council meeting and spoke at that on this ridiculous issue. And we were the minority in the room, those of us who agreed, definitely. And they had a lot of the leftists were there out in full force, and they were screaming at us, and they were trying to yell over what we were saying. And it, that might appear to be intimidating, but you're not the only person, and it feels good to say what you believe to be true.
Oh, sure.
I used to be one of those people. When I started leaving woke, I was doing it privately for a while because I was so afraid of the consequences of saying the truth in today's society, or what I believe to be the truth. And once I got over that fear, it took a while, but once I got over that fear, like, I can tell you on the other side of it, if you're constrained by fear, it's amazing.
Oh, right.
I can say what I think. I don't have that, jailer in my head that's like,
right,
not say that opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you got that freedom.
What I think.
Yeah, you feel that release, right? I would imagine, like, after you say that, you get that feeling of accomplishment. But I would think there's just some kind of euphoric feeling, like, hey, yeah, I finally got off my chest and I put it out there into the world, and I don't know if it's going to make a difference, but hey, if it does, great. If it doesn't, I'm just going to do it again.
Yeah, you're just a free man. It's like when for people who are in that woke cult, they live with a little internal censor in their head, where everything you say, any kind of cult really, has to be ideologically approved.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's honestly why a lot of them have so many mental health issues, where they're always, what medications are you on? Here's the ones
right.
I'm on. How are we going to get through 4 years of time? Like, a lot of that has to do with just you're not standing on solid ground. And like you said at the beginning of this episode, and deep down they know it.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's a reason why there's, at least maybe, up until like a little ways from now, because a lot of times there's a lot more leftists and liberals and Democrats, like, showing up for these things, because to them, politics is more of a religion than it is for a normie norm for most people and whatnot. They get together, they will go and they'll canvass neighborhoods, and they'll do all the ground pounding politically that people more on the right used to not do. Now we're doing more of it now, like Scott Pressler and Charlie Kirk and all those names that but for decades, people on the right didn't really do that, but the people on the left did, because this is their religion. They don't go to church, they're not Presbyterians, they're not Catholics. They worship at the feet of politics and big government and that kind of thing. So they're always down to show up at a school board meeting. And that's why, a lot of times you go to school boards, like, wait, they're all Democrats, they're all on the left, they're all leftists. Like, what? How did that happen? Like, oh, well, because you were Mr. Conservative, you were at back at home watching the NFL, swilling beer while the crazy leftist with the blue hair and the bone in her nose was down at the school board meeting voting in the election. So,
and Van, let me tell you, they're already organizing. I follow a lot of these leftist accounts. Like, they're bragging about, because Trump won, how many hundreds of people they've gotten to sign up on the left to run for local office. Like, they are out there organizing at the local level. And so anybody listening who's ever had that inclination and maybe been afraid, or maybe you're like, I'm going to rest on my laurels these 4 years. No, like, they are
right.
This is a fire under their bums. So
yeah,
we need to counter it with equal passion and vigor. Like, we need good men to run. We need good women to run for local office. I don't want to. Somebody needs
but not me. Yeah.
I don't feel called to that, but I know somebody listening might. I always if you feel called to that, and you might have fears telling you not to, but man.
Yeah, exactly.
Now's the time. Now's the time.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it drives me crazy. People are like, we won, it's over. Woke is dead. Like, no, it's not. It is not over. No. Is like, celebrate this win for like a couple of weeks. We're past a couple of weeks. Now it's back. Now it's time to get back and get down to the grindstone, lace up your boots and get after it and whatnot, because this bought us a little bit of time, but that's it. This is not like we didn't win the war. This is one battle. There's a lot of battles to come. And Jesse Kelly's another show that I watch. I'm stealing this from him, but he says point blank, and he's right. It's like, you, me, people our age, we're not going to see final victory. We're going to be dead by the time final victory is achieved. We'll never see like the win at the end of the rainbow here, because they've been at it. The leftists, the commies, Marxists, they've been at it for decades. Yeah. They started this shit in the 40s, the 50s, maybe even before that and whatnot. So you think we're gonna get victory over that in 10 years? Hell no. It's gonna be something where maybe even our kids will be dead, by the time that final victory is achieved. So no, one election in 2024 isn't winning the war.
It's like cathedral building. So when I've been lucky to get to go with my husband to Europe for his music, the first time I went, I was just blown away by the age and the beauty of these cathedrals there. And like, there's one in it's called the Münster, and it's in Freiburg, Germany. And that one they started building it in the 1100s. And so if you just think about how many hundreds of years that they would build some of these cathedrals. And the first generation, I was thinking about the first generation of bricklayers, and they're working on this thing. They know they're not going to live long enough to see the end, but they're working for future generations, and then their kids are working on it, and they don't live to see the end, and their kids continue working on it. And the culture's like that. Culture is like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's crafty though, because it's like, I grew up totally oblivious to any of this stuff. In my teens, 20s, 30s, and whatnot. I didn't know about the the long march to the institutions, as they call it right there. I just was watching movies and playing sports and going out and having a good time. I had no idea this was going on. And then, if you're like me, like sometime around, pretty much like when Barack Obama, it was probably like 2012 after he'd been in for 4 years. Then, to me, if I recollect correctly, that's pretty much like when all of a sudden this woke stuff started coming out big time and in full force. And we started getting like, hey, these white people, man, they're evil, and these white people need to apologize. And I'm like, holy shit, for my first 40-something years, I never heard of anything like that. And now all of a sudden, all this woke stuff, and hey, white people are bad, and people of color are all good, and
men are bad.
Yeah, men are bad, and dudes who feel pretty want to be able to do all this stuff. All this, it's I just use the word woke just to cover it all, but probably not totally accurate. But the point is like, I was oblivious to all that, totally clueless, had no idea. I'm sure I'm not the only one. And then all of a sudden, boom, there it is all of a sudden. And even after final victory is achieved, and I don't know, however many decades from now, people cannot afford to be that complacent again, because I was complacent, but you have to just assume. So this might be a good thing in one sense, is it now is putting people on alert. Like, don't just coast through life watching football and drinking lattes. Like, you always have to assume there's some sleazy, skeezy scumbags, working as part of a system to take down your country. And that's exactly what it is there. The long march of the institutions. It was just a slow, methodical, system that to take us down. And so,
yeah, it's funny because that's what a lot of, well, they say history rhymes, right? Like a lot of history it's the older I'm getting, the more I'm realizing, oh, this just happens over and over in different ways. And a lot of dystopian fiction, which I don't even know if kids are reading the classics anymore, but a lot of dystopian fiction, when I was young and I read it, it was like either it didn't seem to have any relevance to the time I was living in. Then when I got older, I started to think of it as, oh, this does have a lot of relevance, and these authors could see the future. And now I'm realizing, no, they didn't see the future. They were just writing about mankind, which doesn't change.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So we keep going, we keep learning the same lesson over and over again. Look at what's happening in the UK right now. They're trying to, they're basically making moves towards communism, where they're trying to they pushing this inheritance tax on farmers of 20% on farmers.
Right. Yeah.
And so, and if you read the stuff supporting this, there's journalists and stuff saying, well, farmers have hoarded land for too long. And you sound just like Lenin. You sound just like the justifications they used to take farms away from farmers. They call it kulaks, and to collectivize these farms and kill the farmers. And then what happened? Famine that killed millions of people. Why do you think it's this politics of resentment? It just it comes out in different ways each time.
It's a religion of the malcontent.
Yeah. So right now that politics of resentment is woke. But who knows what form it'll take in the future. And this is why they can't connect it, I think, historically. I'm so sorry. One last but
no, go on. Yeah, do your thing.
when you talk about, like, this is actually analogous to not just communism, but fascism in a lot of ways. And they can't see it because they're like, unless it looks exactly like the fascism we learned about that happened during, World War II, unless it looks exactly like that, and the target is this ethnic group and this and this and this, and it's like, no, that's not how it's going to look every time.
Right, yeah.
But the basics are the same. It's the government coming in and saying that the government is sovereign over individual liberty and individual freedom. At its bare bones, that's what it is. And every time it rears its head, it's like, we don't recognize it because it looks a little bit different this time. Okay, like, can we get a little smarter? Like what you're saying, can we get a little smarter? And
right,
now
exactly.
Like, all the kids need to read the classics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they're all like, well, I know communism hasn't worked in any country that's tried it, in all of history, but our communism is going to work. We're going to do it right this time. It's like just the hubris of that, and just the cluelessness of that. Like, really, like, okay, you have a pattern where you have this socioeconomic system. You have a pattern where it's never worked. You should look at that pattern and look at it as it's doing you a favor and telling you, don't do this again. But you just see that pattern, and common sense people will be like, okay, there's a pattern of this failing over and over again. Okay, I'm not going to try that again. Let's move on to something else. But they're like, no, we're going to keep sticking with this over here. And it's because, kind of like what you're saying, is it's envy. It's a religion of the malcontent. It's like, they want what other people have instead of working hard for their own stuff. And that's why, one of the things, just go off on a totally another tangent, is, happy people with families that feel whole emotionally and mentally and all that. They don't want any part of communism. They don't want any part of Marxism. No. They're happy and whatnot. So what do the communists and the Marxists have to do? They have to make people unhappy. And depressed and whatnot. Well, what's one good way of doing it? Well, increase the crime in your nation, around the country and whatnot.
Economy.
Yeah, exactly. Destroy the economy. Like, give people a reason to be depressed. Give a reason for families to break up, so that you have a whole country of depressed, on edge people that are craving salvation. And then, where's the hand of salvation going to come? Oh, it's going to come from the state. Hi, I'm Mr. Commie. I'm here to help you. Now, 10 years ago, you would have never accepted this help because you had a family and you were well-adjusted and you felt good and also. But now that we've made you desperate and sad and depressed because we've introduced all these criminals into society and whatnot, now you're going to come running for our communism.
You're exactly right. I've heard James Lindsay make the point you're making in a different way, and what you're saying is it echoes, like you guys are echoing each other, because he talks about how the only time you get the populace to beg for communism is in a shithole country. So you have to turn America into a shithole country first.
Right, exactly. Like, yeah. And how would you do that? How would you do it? Like, you just have a bunch of illegal immigrants come in and, and take all the homes and take all the jobs because they're willing to work for a lot less and all that stuff, and then commit crimes, Tren de Aragua or Aragua, Tren de Aragua, that's hard to say. All these things like, MS-13, all this stuff comes together. And so, when you have a good picture of history, like James Lindsay, like you were talking about him and many of others, and you see that, like, what's the game plan, what the commies do, and then you look and see like what they're doing, what they're allowing in, all the illegal immigrants and increasing the crime and then not caring. Then you're like, oh, I see what they're doing. They're on step 27 of the 133 step playbook. You start putting two and two together. But I see you have to leave here, there and whatnot. So I just want to thank you again, Keri, for coming on it. I'd love to have you on again. I had a great time chatting with you. I feel like I talked to you for another 6 hours.
Man, you should also come on our Wednesday night show. I'll contact you. It's every other Wednesday. I do a show called Pop Culture with one of my best friends, Mystery Chris.
Oh yeah.
And so maybe we'll pick a good movie night or something where you would want to come to that. I'll let you know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, hopefully it's as fun as I was watching an America Fuck Yeah episode you guys did right there, and I'm sorry we don't have enough time to go into that right there, but I love the Rambo, Rocky, and all that stuff. So that's awesome. Oh, how fun! Oh yeah, cool. But yeah, everybody, give it up in the live chat. Give it up for Keri. Appreciate you coming on here, and have yourself a great one. Thank you, Van. Take care. All right, take care. All right, there she goes, right there. Keri Smith there. Check out her deprogrammed channel on YouTube. It's definitely worth a subscribe on there. She's got all kinds of great content there. And do like what I did. Like I went ahead and looked at some older shows that she's been on, like Trigonometry. She was on that. It was like 3 or 4 years ago. She's on there really great there with Constantine and Francis on there. She's been on Friday Night Tights, I think, at least a couple of times there as well. So just fantastic there. But hopefully I have her on again. And hey, we got Mr. Scott Awesome. Could you imagine Russell Crowe playing William Wallace Freedom? I mean, I think I could. I mean, I kind of think of Russell Crowe and Mel Gibson as kind of cut from the same cloth, right? They're kind of, a couple of more alpha male actors that we have. They were like Clint Eastwood and Chris Hemsworth, and one really obvious one that I'm escaping. Tommy Lee Jones, guys like that. So like, we're in real life, they're like, these are men. This is a man's man, even in real life, that kind of thing. So especially Mel Gibson, because Mel Gibson is a badass in real life. With his notable foibles that have been well publicized and all that stuff right there. But we don't need to rehash that again. But real quick here, just want to let you guys know here about our tdpn.locals.com website there that you see up at the very top. And what is that? Well, that is our Till Death Podcast Network website, where we have all our great content, like videos and blogs and articles all about movies and entertainment and politics, hot button sizzling topics of the day, cocktail recipes, music, all kinds of stuff. All right. So we got a whole wide variety, a smorgasbord, if you would, of content on tdpn.locals.com. But we don't have any little kids sneezing and wiping their boogers all over our smorgasbord. All right. We don't do that. All right. So it's clean. It's pure. Okay. And as you see down below, if you put in promo code TDPN, you get 1 month free membership to tdpn.locals.com. That gives you carte blanche, free all access to the website. You are a VIP full show. And then after that 1 free month, it's just a minimum of $3, to keep your VIP access
to the website. So definitely check that out right there. Don't be the last one amongst your friends or in your family to visit the website. You don't want to show up at the family. You're going to, hey, everybody, did you guys check out this tdpn.locals.com website, man? I'm pretty sure I'm the first one. And everybody in your families will be like, you're a dork. We're already on tdpn.locals.com. What a loser. So don't be that guy right there. But real quick here, if you would, smash that like button down there, right? Just pummel that like button there if you would. Now, don't break your laptop or anything like that. So your screen, or don't do that. All right, I don't want to be sued. This is a litigation-free zone here. And then while you're down there hitting buttons, go ahead and hit that subscribe or follow button down there as well if you haven't already. And then there's the notification bell down there. So, and that does exactly what it sounds like. It's going to notify you when there's a brand new episode of any Movies Merica show whatsoever. And then if you're not watching the show live right now, you're watching this later on, you're watching this in 10 years or something like that, if we're still around in 10 years. First off, how you doing? Thanks for watching. And your chance to communicate back and forth with me here and I with you is the comments section down below, okay? And feel free to go crazy down there, comment whatever you want. Obviously we're talking about Gladiator or, a little bit. We delved off into some other areas a wee bit in this episode, but it's technically supposed to be about Gladiator on this episode here tonight. So you can, comment about Gladiator, maybe your, another favorite Russell Crowe movie, whatever, okay, down there. Also, it's a good place to throw some constructive criticism my way. If you think that, if I'm doing something that really annoys the shit out of you, let me know, but in a constructive way. Okay, I do have fragile, delicate feelings there. Or if you want to do my delicate, fragile feelings a favor and just blow sunshine up my ass through the comments down there, that is not only allowed, it's highly encouraged there down in the comments. All right, so that is how we roll here. So gotta love it. And again, you guys get in the live chat. All right, so don't do that lurking thing unless you have to. Okay. So lurkers, what are lurkers? Okay, lurkers are people that have joined the show and they're just watching, they're just listening, and they have both hands free that they could be going down to their keyboards and live chatting with me down there. That's a lurker. Now, you're not a lurker if you're listening and watching and you're in the middle of something. If you're like, making pork chops or you're behind an 18-wheeler or something like that, yeah, don't try to live chat me. Hands on the wheel, 10 and 2, right? But if your hands are free, man, get in the live chat. Don't be shy. Nobody will hurt you right there. And also, thank you, Mr. Scott Awesome, for reminding me that you can't. Live chat is not the only thing you can do in the live chat. You can give me, you can throw a little money my way. And Mr. Scott Awesome has stepped up to the plate. All right, he's manned up. He's cowboyed the fuck up, and he's giving me $1 Rumble rant over in Rumble right there. And it's really easy. How you do that in Rumble is down by where you type in your live chat message. There's a button with a dollar sign on it. Just click the $sign. It'll just ask you how much you want to donate my way. And that's it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy right there. And then if you're on YouTube, if you're checking me on YouTube, it's pretty much the same deal. Down by where you type in your live chat message there, just click on the button with a $bill sign, and it'll just ask you how much you want to donate. And very simple, very easy. Even I figured it out. All right, so that's how you know it's very easy right there. So, all right, so what else should we talk about here with Gladiator there? I'm glad that I had a chance to talk to Keri about some parallels that I couldn't help but notice when I was watching Gladiator to what we're dealing with in real life, in particular politically and that kind of thing, where you got Maximus and he's being offered Commodus's hand to accept Commodus as Caesar, as the emperor right there. And that's a left basically saying, hey, you need to accept this, how we're making this formally Judeo-Christian based country built on freedoms and individual rights and all that kind of stuff. We're changing that whole shit. We're knocking all that shit down. and we're turning this place into Russia, right? We're turning this place into a Marxist country right here. So we're extending our hand there, conservatives. We only offer it once, and they're kind of doing this little ultimatum shit, okay? And obviously, we just showed them with this last election, like, hey, take your ultimatum and shove it right up your ass, motherfuckers, okay? And so they're panicking right now. But like Keri was saying, they're panicking, but they're also fortifying. And so we have to stay on top of our shit, okay? We have to fortify as well and build up off of this victory right here. So, but one thing in Gladiator, so to me, Gladiator is pretty much a perfect movie except for one thing. And let me know in the live chat if this bothered you, but I didn't like during that initial battle where they cut to the sequence where the fighting is in slow motion, and it's this really tacky looking. I think it just looks really stupid, just the kind of slow motion that they do. It's not the Michael Bay slow motion. It's the slow motion that they do via this process that they call overcranking, where they play with the film speed and all that stuff. And they do this sequence where it's this weird looking slow motion shit done via this overcranking process there. And then they have, Hans Zimmer's music playing over it. And again, I think that part just looks like shit. Okay. But thankfully, that was mostly just a thing that they did in movies and TV right around like the 1997 to 2001 time frame. Like you saw it like as part of the Omaha Beach scene and Saving Private Ryan, that whole sequence. They had those sequence where all the exterior noise goes away and Tom Hanks is shell shocked, and you just see it as part of that. I thought that looked like shit right there. But that is a remnant of that kind of era, of that area of movies and TVs and that kind of thing. So thankfully that's gone right there. But I think that's one of the first things that people are going to see about Gladiator. If you haven't seen Gladiator before, I mean, just the one or two people out there that haven't seen it yet, is that you notice right away how big the scale, how massive the scale, and how epic the scale of the movie is because of that initial battle, right? Where they're up in Germania and you got the Roman army and they're going up against, the barbarians of Germania, right? And you've got the catapults, the ballistas, you got the archers and all that stuff. And you've got them in, mass quantities, right? You see this massive, Roman army up against this smaller barbarian army from Germania there, and just the technical and just the breadth of all the warfare, all the armaments there, all the ordnance there, and some of it that is filled in with CGI and that kind of thing, kind of like they did with Braveheart. All the battles were massive in Braveheart because they CGI'd a bunch of the troops in and that kind of thing, but it doesn't cancel out the fact that it just looks massive and epic. And, especially like, they have a couple of big epic shots, like wide shots of the entire battlefield there that Ridley Scott and the cinematographer there, John Matheson, does, where they show the entire battlefield, the Roman army, the barbarian horde, and you just see all the explosions in the tree line, all the flaming arrows shooting over. It's just so cool, especially combined with Hans Zimmer's epic Gladiator score going along with it. It's just a fantastic movie. But I think what really makes it even more epic is how Gladiator starts out with a very quiet, tranquil scene where you just see Maximus's hand just kind of gliding over, a field of wheat, and then that scene where he sees a little bird fly up, and it's just this very tranquil, quiet scene, and then it's followed right afterwards with this really cool build-up sequence to the battle. And one thing I like about Gladiator is, of the million things I like about Gladiator, is how right after he sees the bird fly off and he's got that little wry little smile, you see his face turn from that wry smile to a face of seriousness, right? His game face, his war face, which tells you, oh shit, he's got his war face on. What's going to happen in the next scene? And then they cut to Germania and just a really cool buildup where, they don't just get into the fighting right off the bat, right? You see Maximus and he's walking down the battle lines, right? He's observing, he's taking in his soldiers and kind of inspecting them as it goes along and stopping and meeting up with with his second in command and talking about hey, the range is fine on the catapults, the ballistas, and it just this, and they're waiting for the messenger, right? The messenger, the envoy that they sent out with terms of surrender and that kind of thing. And so I really like that kind of calm before the storm, right before the shit hits, right? I really love that part of Gladiator there. It's very, very cool there. But yeah, hopefully, like if you're watching me live or you're watching me later on, you're enjoying the sort of breakdown of Gladiator here. But I really want to break it up here there to kind of keep things spicy as we go through Gladiator here, and also to wet my whistle, okay, because my throat is killing me right now. No, not the Pete Buttigieg reason for that happening. Been talking too long without a swill of brew right there. And so that is my clue for a little brew review time. All right, everybody, let me introduce you to the brew of the evening. And that is a little High Ally. And that is from a little bouquet of tangerine and other citrus flavors and that kind of thing. And High Ally, you may not know what High Ally is named after, but there's like this sport that is very popular, like in Miami and South Florida and that kind of thing. In other areas of the world, I'm sure. It's a sport I don't watch, but they love High Ally, love betting on High Ally and whatnot. And so if you Google High Ally, you'll see, oh, yeah, I've seen that before. But that's what this is named after. But as you see, it's an India Pale Ale there. And, yeah, it's got clementine and Valencia orange in it. So if you don't like citrus, like a citrus-flavored beer, you're not really going to like some High Ally there. But I like it. I like citrus, like a citrus flavored beer. I like drinking a beer that's just not your normal swill, your Bud Light tranny fluid and your Coors Light. There's a time and place for like Coors Light and Dos Equis and your more ubiquitous beer, your Milwaukee's Beast. Okay, particularly when those are free, right? When you're out on your bass boat or on somebody's bass boat and they're providing the beer for free. Hey, you know what? Drink up that Coors Light or whatever. I'm not paying for it. It's in mass quantities, and hey, it would be insulting to your host if if he or she is got a cooler full of cold ones right there, and no matter what the quality is, and you don't partake. Come on, all right. It's not one of the harder things in life right there. If you just got to sit on the bass boat and drink cheap beer, right? Okay, there's harder things in life you have to deal with, right? Or you go to a frat party or go to a party and you've got a very unimaginative friend and all they have is Coors Light. Hey, there's worse tribulations you could go through in life. So drink up. But, if you've got a little bit more imagination and a little bit more courage and you want to try something different, you could go High Ally right there. And this is probably not the hardest beer to find. Some of the beers that I review, they're pretty hard to find. Okay. But this one you're probably not going to have to send out a search party to all four corners of the globe to find yourself some High Ally right there. But yeah, it's a good, India Pale Ale, 7.5% alcohol by volume right here. So it's got a little bit of a kick for a beer, that is. But enough of me yapping about it. I'm going to take a little tug off this bad boy. Good stuff. Good stuff. But yeah, if you guys are drinking tonight, you guys got beers, cocktails, whatever, hey, feel free. Yeah. Just get them down. Like, imbibe, this is a party atmosphere. Okay. It's almost the weekend right there. It's pre-Friday. It's Thirsty Thursday. So yeah, kick back, relax, ease your mind while you're watching Movies Merica there. So, because obviously you can tell I am. I'm kicking back. I'm relaxing right here. And on that note, it's time to end a little brew review time. All right. So, hey, everybody, make sure to send this link to anybody that you can think of right there. Email it, instant message them, carrier pigeon that shit, whatever. Okay. Put it in an envelope and run it across the hallway. Whatever you got to do, let them know about the link for this episode so that they get in the live chat. Okay. So I want to see more bodies in the live chat there. I want to hear from more people in the live chat right there because it's I'm not here to hear myself talk. I want to hear from other people and whatnot. We got just badasses like Mr. Scott Awesome and Beyond Formal and others. Professor Savage was in here earlier, getting in the live chat right there. So get in there and get in the live chat right there. And I want to hear from you about Gladiator or any other Russell Crowe movie or anything you want to live chat with me about. I know we got more political earlier. So hey, you want to live chat with me about politics and all that stuff? By all means, that's all good right there. Real quick here, let me do this here to let you guys know about our fantastic merch that we have available right now. So, and some of the merch we have are these fantastic T-shirts that you see right here. But as you see right there at the top left, you got a Movies Merica T-shirt there, and we've got it in other colors, not just black. And we're making it very easy for you to get your hands on Movies Merica merch. All right, just click on that merch link in the description down below and get to shopping, everybody, because we got Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Festivus coming up here just next month right there. And don't be that lame-o that does all those Christmas shopping on Christmas Eve the night before, and you're shopping at the local gas station and buying everybody Snickers bars and incense. Don't be that lame-o. Like, hey, here's some 5-hour energy there, honey. Merry Christmas. Don't be that lame-o. Get in there, be a badass, and get down into our merch link down in the description below. And get Cousin Sal or Grandma Whitney, Movies Merica T-shirt or a Movies Merica shot glass or a Movies Merica phone case, what have you. You're going to find it there at the merch link right there. Okay. So, and as you see right now, if you put in promo code movies, you see that right down there below, you're going to get free shipping right there. Okay. So, and we could all, save a little money, right? We could all use a little extra money to, go and buy yourself a 6-pack of High Ally or whatever you have, whatever you want to buy there. All right. So, more money. There you go. But with this more money, there's not more problems. Okay. So check it out there. All right. So let's do this here real quick. I mean, we got plenty of more Gladiator to talk about there. And, I think that Keri and I were kind of touching on it a little earlier, where I think the reason that women like a movie about gladiators more than you would think on first blush is because the writers of Gladiator created such compelling backstories to the characters, okay? The good and the bad characters, right? I mean, you've got, like I was saying earlier, Maximus is this tough, ferocious fighter, but he thinks of fighting more as like just this utilitarian, this kind of utilitarian thing, this tool that sometimes he needs to use, like the hammer, or the channel locks that you have in your toolbox. All right. These are tools that you don't have to use all the time, but sometimes a situation arises, you have to use these tools. And so Maximus, his fighting skills is just a tool that he has to use from time to time, whether he wants to or not. But, more than that, I think he would want to be remembered as a loving man, a family man, a man that loves his wife and son. And so you get that as part of the whole Maximus package in this movie. And so I think that's why that's undoubtedly part of why Russell Crowe won the Best Actor Oscar for playing Maximus Decimus Meridius, right? And But not just Maximus. Maximus is not the only one with a compelling, intriguing backstory and intriguing kind of picadillos about him. All right, we have Commodus here, Commodus there, where his backstory, his intriguing backstory is here's a kid who apparently was very neglected as a kid. His father, Marcus Aurelius, the Caesar he apparently was a shit father, to not just to Commodus, but to Lucilla. I mean, he was busy roaming the world, expanding the Roman Empire, and he wasn't around, to play Legos with this kid, some Roman Legos of yore, right? whatever you played with your kid, or played, whatever toys you played around with your kid with. That sounded terrible there, but he wasn't around for for his son and daughter, and so naturally, as an offshoot of that, your kids are probably going to be little shits, right? Especially Commodus in this case, in this age, or in this case right here. Lucilla, it looks like she kind of still turned out okay in spite of her dad being a shit dad. But Commodus, he didn't handle that so well, and so he is this evil, maniacal, narcissistic little fucker, right? And so he didn't get the love from his father that he wanted, and that he rightfully deserved, right? As a child. So now he pretends that he's getting love from the people of Rome, right? He's trying to earn their love by bringing back the games and the gladiator games that his dad banished, right? And then even sicker than that, he's imagining his own sister, having romantic love for him. Incest is not best, people. Okay, so keeping it in the family, not good. All right, so and I apologize in advance to our Alabama and Mississippi viewers. No, I'm kidding. I kid because I care. I kid Alabama and Mississippi viewers, but I really mean that. So no, I'm kidding. Or am I? I don't know. You have to be the judge. There you go. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, he had like good writers for Gladiator, like John Logan, who created these compelling stories. John Logan, that name sounds familiar if you're a big movie nerd like I am. John Logan, later on after Gladiator, he wrote The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise and Skyfall, obviously one of the Bond movies there as well. And then we have like great stuff about Gladiator, like I was kind of touching on it before with Keri, where there's a whole premise in the movie of the afterlife, right? Where Djiman Hounsou's character is always talking about, he's going to be dead soon, so he'll be in the afterlife, and his wife and daughter will meet him in the afterlife sometime, and talking to Maximus about how Maximus's wife and son are already in the afterlife, and they're waiting for him to show there, and so that's one of the cool ways they kind of tied together the screenplay for Gladiator, to where when Maximus does suffer that mortal wound at the hand of Commodus, not in the Gladiator fight, but a cheap shot, that's how Commodus wounds him mortally there, and when he dies after getting sweet vengeance on Commodus, him dying and joining his wife and son in Elysium is a victory. It's a win. And so you get a great writer like Bill Nicholson that came up with that premise to give us a win, and then it just makes for a great ending to the movie, because then you have Djiman Hounsou's is it Jobu? Not Jobu. It's not Major League, like Jubu or something. I can't remember what his name is on that. Forgive me. But he's got the last line of the movie where he talks about, now we are free. I will see you one day, my friend, but not yet. And then Hans Zimmer's soaring score with Lisa Gerrard's mesmerizing vocals, with the "Now We Are Free" song playing, over the end credits. Fantastic. Just one of the great things about Gladiator, and just that's probably why I've seen it a million times right there. So, and speaking of things that I've done a million times there, but I'm not tired of, is telling you guys about Flip City Magazine. Yes, a great sponsor for this episode. Now, what is Flip City Magazine? Well, Flip City Magazine is the replacement for Mad Magazine and Cracked Magazine. So you guys probably remember those magazines from back in the day. Well, unfortunately, Mad Magazine and Cracked, they didn't take that whole 2016 win by Donald Trump so well. All right. And so he broke their brains, and they allowed themselves to get accumulated or assimilated into the woke Borg. And so they went from making you laugh to, this is how you need to live a woke life, young man. Okay, that's what Mad Magazine and Cracked turned into. Well, we needed a worthy replacement for them. And so insert Flip City, or let me say that in a less pornographic way. Let's bring in Flip City as the worthy replacement, okay? But instead of hearing me tell you all about it, let's hear it straight from Flip City.
I love Flip City. It has brought new types of badassery and integrity to the print medium.
Genuinely cutting, but also funny, and obviously just chaotic and very fun.
All right, everybody. So, yes, get your hands on some Flip City magazine. And we're making it very easy for you by clicking on the Flip City link in the description down there, right? So it's just down there. It's calling to you, calling your name. And as you see down below, if you put in promo code MOVIES, you're going to get 10% off your order of the best non-woke comic around. Okay, so yeah, no tips in the magazine about the best way to turn your hair purple, or the best ways to steal your parents' money for drugs, or that kind of thing, or the best way to harass your conservative grandma and grandpa and all that stuff. So none of that right there, just pure funny right there. And hey, let me show you an actual Flip City magazine. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that gleam, that shine right there. And we got like Guardians of the Galaxy and James Corbett and Across the Spider-Verse right there. And let me flip that bad boy open for you right there so you can see. Look at that. Sports Infiltrated right there. That great artwork. Okay. And yeah, great stuff. Like, look at that artwork. Okay. Awesome. The Boy Who Cried Racist. Okay. So, I'm sure making fun of, little pussy boys talking about being racist and that kind of thing. And yeah, I got great comics in there as well. And it just feels great just having a magazine to have in your hand, at your fingertips, and just kind of flip through and all that stuff right there. So there you go. Fantastic stuff. So yeah, grab yourself some Flip City magazine. And again, we're making it very easy for you by clicking on by having a Flip City link in the description down below. So get yourself that mag right there. Okay, so yeah, you snooze, you lose. Don't be the last one to get your hands on that right there. Okay, so all right, let's check things out right here real quick. And the one thing I have to say about Gladiator. So so I told you one thing that I didn't like earlier. Well, I have another thing that I didn't like so much about it. And that one thing is I didn't like the romantic subplot between Maximus and Lucilla, because remember, he's at the beginning of the movie, Maximus is talking about how he misses his wife and his son, can't wait to get back to them. This movie is pretty much about somebody trying to, a man trying to get home to his wife and child, and so they really really drive that point home. And then of course they kill off his wife and son and all that stuff. And so you're like, man, he loved his wife. He loved his son. This is a man that just wanted to get back to his family. Oh, what a great guy. And then, like, what, 3/4 of the way through the movie, maybe a little later on there, on in the movie, he's kissing another woman. Like, what? He's pushing up on Lucilla. Wait, what about his wife? I thought he loved his wife. Well, how is he getting over his wife so quickly, right? And I know that they insinuate that Maximus and Lucilla, they hooked up, back when they were much younger in this movie. And we're going to find out something about that hookup that, come Gladiator 2 coming up here. And whatnot. Well, I'll just spoil it. It says it right in the trailer. We found out that Maximus and Lucilla, when they got together, they could produce Lucius, okay? And Lucius is the main character of Gladiator 2 that's coming out this weekend right here. That's why I'm doing this Gladiator review. Well, that's one reason. The other reason I'm doing it is because I've never done a Gladiator review, and I was ashamed of myself. I was extremely, intensely ashamed of myself. You call yourself a movie critic. You call yourself a content creator about movies, and you haven't done a Gladiator episode? Come on, man. So I needed to correct that mistake. But the other reason I did a Gladiator review and made that the theme of this week is because of Gladiator 2 coming out this weekend. And again, the main character in Gladiator 2 is Lucius there, and played by Paul Mescal. And Lucius, as it turns out, that's Maximus' that's his bastard. Okay, there you go. But I just thought it was weird. Like, okay, hey, he loves his wife. He's supposed to be dedicated to his wife, and he's swapping spit with some other woman in the movie. And it reminded me also of Braveheart. I didn't like how William Wallace was banging some French princess later on in the movie. Like, his beloved wife was murdered. And they portrayed in the movie that, hey, he's been pretty much in love with her since they were kids. Because at the beginning of the movie, there's this beautiful scene where, his father and brother, they were killed. They were at the funeral. And this little girl comes up and hands him a flower, and turns out that little girl turns up, and it's this beautiful girl from the village, and they end up getting married and that kind of thing. This is a beautiful love story, right? And she ends up getting murdered, and so that kicks off the whole revolt and that kind of thing. And it's just beautiful love story that they spent so much time on early on in the movie. And then again, William Wallace, he's bumping uglies with some French princess later on in the movie. To me, that's fucked up. All right. So now I'm sure you might have people like, that's not a big deal. Whatever, Van, let it go. But I just thought it was kind of fucked up. But anyway. Well, at least I hide it very, very well right there. So, yeah. And, Mr. Scott, call out Sean Cav or whoever was typing in chat before me right there. So, yeah, because Mr. Scott Awesome, you have been, well, awesome in the live chat. You have been putting in some serious work right there, and so the fault is not yours. You have done more than you need to there, sir. You have lived up to your end of the bargain, and any calling out of the live chat is not directed at you. That is for sure. We just need some other people to cowboy the fuck up and get in the live chat right there. And so since we're talking about some Gladiator, for sure. But maybe this will get people live chatting and getting in here and talking, because we're about to get into my favorite segment of every Movies Merica spoiler warning episode. And that, of course, is the movie military moment. And you may be asking yourself here, if you're a newbie to this show, what is the movie military moment there, Van? Well, I shall tell you. So the movie military moment is where I give myself a few minutes to honor a recipient of the Congressional Medal of Honor, okay? Because I'm a veteran. I was only in for 4 years, so it's not like I'm some 20-year veteran or anything like that. But I was in long enough to appreciate the military, and I'm a very patriotic guy, and I really appreciate, the freedoms that we have every day. I mean, because I don't know why I'm so cognizant of it. Most people are just kind of totally oblivious about the freedoms to, walk out your door, jump in your car, go to Starbucks, go through the drive-thru, get yourself a latte, and then go to the grocery store and buy whatever you want, and then go to the bar and get hammered and talk shit about the American president all you want without having to worry about the Gestapo coming in, arresting you, and that kind of thing. Now, that might change, the more Democrats we elect and that kind of thing. And, if you start bad-mouthing, big government and they'll start arresting you and that kind of thing. But for right now, we still have those freedoms. And so I appreciate those freedoms. Okay, I appreciate those freedoms. And so I am also aware of who provided those freedoms. Okay, our military. Okay, it wasn't a bunch of, pink-haired, weirdo, woke dumbasses, protesting in the streets. They didn't provide us our freedoms. Hell no. Okay, it wasn't some limp dick, congressman getting his dick sucked by some intern while accusing some other politician of doing the exact same thing and calling it, improper and all this. It wasn't those. It was our fearless men and women in the military right there. So all that to say, so the movie Military Moment, that's what that is right there. So I went off on a kind of a little tangent right there, but I tend to do that. But every great segment deserves a great intro, and so movie Military Moment is no different. Let's do this. All right, so right now, another question you might be asking yourself is, what's the connection between movies and the military? Well, I shall tell you. So, as you would imagine, if you are a recipient of the Congressional Medal of Honor, you didn't get it for being the best booger picker on the base or, shining the best boots for all the officers or anything like that. No, you didn't get it for some lame thing like that. You got it for being a badass in the face of danger, okay? You're like a Marine on Iwo Jima, and you're rushing a Japanese pillbox and who's about to open fire on all your soldiers or all your buddies over here. So you rush them with just a grenade because you're out of ammo with no consideration of your personal safety. You take out the Japs and you save your friends, and maybe you take some wounds and you basically you make the ultimate sacrifice right there. You do something like that. Or you're in Europe, during World War I, and you're in trench warfare, and you save some people from getting gassed, with some mustard gas from the Germans or something like that, something very like a cool moment where if you saw it on a big movie screen right in front of you, it would be a very cool movie military moment. So that's the connection right there. Okay. And so for this movie Military Moment, we are going to pay tribute to one Captain Ed W. Freeman, who fought for us in Vietnam there. And I believe that Captain Ed W. Freeman deserves some sweet, sweet movie Military Moment music. So let's take care of that right now, shall we? This is the movie Military Moment. And for this movie Military Moment, we honor one Captain Ed W. Freeman, who fought in Vietnam. And let's learn more about Captain Ed W. Freeman, shall we? For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty, Captain Ed W. Freeman, United States Army, distinguished himself by numerous acts of conspicuous gallantry and extraordinary intrepidity on 14 November 1965 while serving with Company A, 229th Assault Helicopter Battalion, 1st Cavalry Division Air Mobile. As a flight leader and second in command of a 16 helicopter lift unit, he supported a heavily engaged American Infantry Battalion at Landing Zone X-Ray in the Ai Drang Valley, the Republic of Vietnam. The infantry unit was almost out of ammunition after taking some of the heaviest casualties of the war, fighting off a relentless attack from a highly motivated, heavily armed enemy force. When the infantry commander closed the helicopter landing zone, Due to intense direct enemy fire, Captain Freeman risked his own life by flying his unarmed helicopter through a gauntlet of enemy fire time after time, delivering critically needed ammunition, water, and medical supplies to the besieged battalion. His flights had a direct impact on the battle's outcome by providing the engaged units with timely supplies of ammunition critical to their survival, without which they would have almost surely have experienced a much greater loss of life. After medical evacuation helicopters refused to fly into the area due to intense enemy fire, Captain Freeman flew 14 separate rescue missions, providing life-saving evacuation of an estimated 30 seriously wounded soldiers, some of whom would not have survived had he not acted. All flights were made into a small emergency landing zone within 100 to 200 meters of the defensive perimeter, where heavily committed units were perilously holding off the attacking elements. Captain Freeman's selfless acts of great valor, extraordinary perseverance, and intrepidity were far above and beyond the call of duty or mission, and set a superb example of leadership and courage for all of his peers. Captain Freeman's extraordinary heroism and devotion to duty are in keeping with the highest traditions of military service and reflect upon great credit upon himself, his unit, and the United States Army. And we salute you, Captain Ed W. Freeman. Yes. And that has been the movie military moment there. All right. And now, if that sounds familiar to you at all, you would have seen that acted out in the movie We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson that we were talking about earlier right there. And I believe that Ed was, so in the movie, you've got, what's his face? Greg, I can't remember the actor's name right here, but he played Captain Crandall. So, and then his really tall fellow helicopter pilot, that's Ed Freeman, if you remember in We Were Soldiers, or if you haven't seen it, watch We Were Soldiers. Fantastic movie. Very emotional. It's very graphic. It's one of the more graphic war movies that I've ever seen right there. But, yeah, Ed Freeman is like the really tall helicopter pilot that you see in We Were Soldiers. But great, heroic story here as I adjust my True contact lenses there. Sorry about that. But, yeah, just a tale of heroism, and you get to see it in cinematic form through the movie We Were Soldiers right there. All right. But, yeah, we should wrap up this movie military moment, and let's move on with the show. So let me grab a little drinky right here, and I'm going to check the live chat real quick. Refreshing. Hey, I got Culture Americana in here. Sup, movies? What's up? Hey, sup to you, Culture Americana right there. And gotta love that. Welcome to the show. And we got to feel bad for going live at the same time. I'm terrible at knowing everyone's show times. Well, I mean, there's so many shows out there going on and whatnot. So I'm sure you didn't mean to step on the toes or anything like that. So that kind of thing. So, hey. I don't own the time slot right there, but Culture Americana, what I want to do here next time, if you do go at the same time as I do, why don't we use it to each other's benefit? So we'll do a little raid action, all right? No, not a panty raid. Culture Americana knows that's not what I mean. Sorry, he's a veteran of the shows on Rumble and YouTube and all that stuff, so he knows what I mean. But we need to do a little raid if you're going to do a show at the same time, whatnot, and make it, mutually worth our while right there. So appreciate that going on there. And I'm not drinking Founders right now. I've got a little High-A-Lie right there. But, it's a little India Pale Ale right there now. But Founders, I like me some Founders as well. I was thinking that this is kind of looks like a little bit Two-Hearted Ale right there from Bell's Brewery right there, but not Founders. But what are you drinking tonight there, Culture Americana? I'm down with, he says he's down with the raid. there going on later on in the future. But yeah, everybody let me know like what you guys are drinking. Obviously, you know what I'm drinking right there, a little High Lie, the beer with the funny name going on. But yeah, we've covered some good territory in this show right here. But one thing I wanted to mention here that I thought was pretty funny that has to do with the election we just had is I thought it was funny. Remember how they came out with that hit piece movie, The Apprentice, about Donald Trump, and they thought that, ooh, maybe that might sway some voters away from Trump to go vote for cackling Kamala, right? And so, and that was cool. You know, it's supposed to be this movie that, you know, shits all over Trump and tries to get you to think like, oh, he's the only imperfect person that's ever run for political office. So whatever you do, don't vote for him, because we all know Kamala Harris was a totally perfect person and never did anything unethical in her life. So vote for her, not the scummy guy in our shitty movie, The Apprentice, right here. Well, obviously it didn't work, right? Donald Trump won in even more spectacular fashion than he did in 2016. He wins the popular vote this time. All right. So apparently America said, take your Apprentice movie and shove it right up your ass there, Hollywood. But it's so bad now that Sebastian Stan, the guy who played Donald Trump in the movie, they were supposed to be doing some kind of presser, some kind of public thing, PR thing or whatever, just publicity shit, or something to discuss the movie at, some kind of forum to discuss The Apprentice. And Sebastian Stan was supposed to be there, but I guess they didn't want to do it without Sebastian Stan having one of his co-stars from the movie do it. Well, thanks to the overwhelming fashion of Trump's win, they couldn't get any other actors from the movie to join him because apparently they're scared shitless to be associated with the movie anymore and whatnot. So I just thought that was hilarious that good. Finally, the right parts of the Overton window are closing, at least temporarily, right there. And anybody that says that The Apprentice is not a hit piece movie, I'd say a movie where it just totally ignores the facts and has a scene where Donald Trump is, I'm not going to say the word, the actual correct word, but he ripes his wife, in this case, of was her name Ivana? I can't remember. Whatever his first wife's name was. Somebody in the live chat will correct me. But he ripes his wife in this movie, and so and she even said in real life, she said that, no, I said that originally when we were first divorced because I was pissed and emotions were raw and I wanted to make him look bad. But later on in life, she's like, I made that whole shit up. He didn't ripe me in real life and that kind of thing there. So, but any movie that just totally dismisses that, because they did the research for the movie, totally dismisses that and still decides to put a smearing scene like that, that's a hit piece movie. That's a hit piece movie right there. So there you go. Hylia there. Culture America. Hylia is the way to pronounce it. You talk about the Hylia, the Hyali right there. So yeah, I've always heard it pronounced Hyali right there, but I'm just some white dude there. So, but yeah, Culture Americana says that's a Tampa beer there. The Kamiyama. The Kamilama. There we go. I like that. Kamilama. That's a good handle for somebody to use. I'm sure somebody's probably already using that right there. And I bought a variety of Culture Americano says I bought a variety pack of Founders All Day Lower Alcohol IPAs. The grapefruit IPA is amazing. First time I've had that one from Founders right there. So yeah, Culture Americana, you are a man of culture, obviously, right? I mean, it's right there in your name because you appreciate some good beer culture. You don't stick to just the normal swill, the basic beer shit and whatnot. And again, if you're into that, that's cool. I just like digging at you a little bit and whatnot. But hey, you know what? You like what you like, right? But I would encourage you, though, to get a little bit more adventurous like Culture Americano and myself, and I'm sure Mr. Scott Awesome as well, where, yeah, you drink something a little bit more exotic that introduces you to a whole new world of beer flavor, okay? Now, like anything, you're going to run into a few stinkers here and there, okay? But for the most part, if you take some risks, show some imagination, and drink some more exotic kind of beers, just try them out and that kind of thing, then you're going to be very, very happy. And now Founders is not that exotic. Founders is a pretty prevalent, brewery or beer brewer right there. And so you're going to have a better chance of having some good luck with a great tasting beer from Founders right there. Now, if you're in a bigger area like I am, you're kind of lucky because you have like stores like Total Wine and More, where you can buy like a 6-pack and like just kind of pick and choose like different exotic beers. That's pretty much what I do for this show. And so you don't have to buy a whole 6-pack of exotic beer. You take one sip, you're like, oh fuck, I got 5 more of these to fucking drink right here. I don't even want to finish this first one. This shit tastes like deer piss. I don't want to drink this. But if you've got like a store like Total Wine and More, and I'm not getting any money from Total Wine and More, you can you can buy different beers a can at a time and try it out and whatnot. So that's what I like about that right there. But that's what I do for this show, is that's where I just get all my different beer brands and that kind of thing. And I don't think I've reviewed Founders all day yet, so I haven't done that. So I'm gonna have to get and review that brew right there, and the grapefruit IPA. I'm pretty sure I haven't reviewed that as well, but that is some good shit right there. Culture Americano there. Also just like the whole Rachel Zegler thing. I don't know if you guys saw the video there. Rachel Zegler, just trying to do damage control badly. Okay, right. Before Snow White comes out, whenever the fuck that movie comes out, I could give a shit. Actually, I give a shit in the respect that I want to be well aware of when it comes out. That way, I could see it fall spectacularly on its face when in its first week. And the box office is going to be sub-zero. It's going to be one of the biggest flops out there because she has done her best unintentionally to just make that movie a minefield of total shit. Okay, so no one's going to want to see Snow White starring a cast iron bitch. Okay, and so yeah, if you've been on X or any social media, you saw like the most recent video of her going around where she's just sitting there with her smug little smirk going, I've taken slings and arrows from all directions. I've struggled so much. There's so much struggle I've had to go through, but I've still come out clean and winning on the other side. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, somebody told me this was supposed to be an apology video from her. It's like one of the shittiest, most dog shit apologies I've ever heard in my life right there. So, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention, America's sweetheart, Rachel Zegler there. So, but let you guys know, next week here, I said it earlier, Gladiator 2 is the movie for this upcoming Movies Merica Live. Okay, so I'm going to go see Gladiator 2 here soon. And then, the Movies Merica Live show on Sunday afternoon that I always come out with at 4 Eastern, 3 Central, 2 Mountain, and 1 Pacific on every Sunday afternoon. That show is going to be about Gladiator 2. It's going to be the spoiler-free review. And tell all your friends, tell all your family, tell your favorite pets, all about the show, and join me this Sunday afternoon for my spoiler-free review of Gladiator 2, okay? And now, normally I would be having a Movies Merica spoiler warning a week from tonight to go over Gladiator 2, but a week from tonight is Thanksgiving, all right? So yeah, I'm not going to be one of those guys that's trying to interrupt, your stovetop stuffing and your turkey. And I know I just said stovetop stuffing because I'm hoping people give me shit like, you eat that shitty stovetop stuffing, that cheap shit in a box? Yes, I do, because I'm very uncultured in the ways of stuffing and all that stuff. Like if somebody makes like some primo homemade stuffing, I'll eat the shit out of it. Like my mom, like back in the day when I used to go up there for Thanksgiving, they live like multiple states away from me, so I don't do that. But she used to make homemade stuffing. I love that stuffing. But I also like the stovetop stuffing. I'm an ugly American. I like my cheap ass, stovetop box stuffing right there. So gotta love it. So yeah, so no Movies Merica spoiler warning show a week from tonight, thanks to Turkey Day. And Culture Americana highlights the most popular IPA beer in Miami and Tampa. Cigar City Brewery's tasting room is great. Their Florida Man beer is legend. So are you from there? Do you live in Florida there? I'm not trying to dox you there, Culture Americano. I mean, Florida's a big state, but do you live down there in Florida? Because I always like to learn where everyone lives, not exact addresses. Again, I'm not trying to dox or stalk people, but kind of curious. All right. But yeah, so Gladiator 2 this Sunday. And we're getting ready to wrap up this show, everybody. Getting ready to wrap it up right there. And but I can't wrap up the show before I let you guys know about some great web sites you guys need to save in your browser as favorites. And the first one is solo.to/movies Merica. Now, why would you want to save that as a favorite? Well, that is the website that has all the links to anything Movies Merica. My Facebook, Movies Merica, X Movies Merica, critic lists, Letterboxd, whatever, right? Rumble, my profile there. So it's got all the links to all my Movies Merica presences. Yeah, is that a word? At solo.to/movies Merica. So if you don't want to have to hunt and peck all over Al Gore's worldwide interweb for all things Movies Merica, just do yourself a favor. Take it easy on yourself and save solo.to/movies Merica there in your favorites, okay? And the next one is moviesmerica.com. And this is one where, you couldn't save it as a favorite if you want. But what this is I don't know, I'm dogging my own website here, but what's on this website is the audio only, the podcast versions of my spoiler-free reviews that I come out with on Sunday afternoons, okay? And the reason I'm kind of dissuading you from this is because it's much better to watch my spoiler-free reviews on Rumble and YouTube, because those are available right away, okay? Whereas the podcast versions, I have to do a little bit more work, and I have to put those out there, on Spotify and iHeartRadio and Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and all that stuff. And so, you know what? I'm not above the procrastination bug hitting me or biting me. So a lot of times I'll do the episode live on Sunday afternoons, and then I don't get that podcast version of the episode out until like the following Thursday or Friday. So if you don't want to have to wait 3 or 4 or 5 days for the episode, do yourself a favor. Live life the high life way. Live your life the good life way. And just watch the episode either live or later on Rumble or YouTube right there. Okay? So all I have to say is to go to where I'm at on social media, X and Instagram and Gab, all under @MoviesMerica. I'm also on Facebook under @MoviesMerica. You can also find me on Facebook under Van Ebert as well. And then I'm also on Gab. Well, it says it right there. Jeez, there you go. Way to pay attention there, buddy. But I'm on all kinds of social media platforms. And if you follow me on any of those platforms there, because I definitely want you to follow me or subscribe to me on those platforms, let me know. Let me know by DMing me in X, and just let me know, hey, Van, I followed you on Rumble, followed you on Facebook, followed you on X. Follow me back, homie, and I will follow you back, all right? Because I try to do a decent thing once or twice every year, and that's one of the easy things that I could do to help people out, because you helped me out. You followed me. I should follow you back. But I'm not going to know to follow you back unless you DM me in X at my @MoviesMerica profile right there, okay? And then we got our tdpn.locals.com. Again, that's our website for Till Death Podcast Network that has all our great content like videos and articles and blogs about movies, entertainment, and politics, and all that great stuff right there. Next, we have our merch store, like I told you about earlier. Our merch store link is down in the description, okay? Down there. It's very easy for you to get to, so no excuses not to go to the merch store via that merch store link, again, down in the description, and get yourself a Movies Merica t-shirt or a Movies Merica shot glass or phone case or yoga pants or, maybe some nice, fine Movies Merica china or something like that. So, or China. There you go. It's the dishes are from China. There you go. All right. That hurt my voice, man. Ugh, my throat's getting sore. Let me grab a little swill right over here. I shouldn't call that swill. That's actually good stuff. right there. All right, moving on. We got solo.to/TillDeathPod Network. Why you'd want to go there, and you're going to detect a pattern here before long, is solo.to/TillDeathPod Network is going to be your one-stop shop website for all links that have anything to do with the Till Death Podcast Network. So you see links to my shows, links to other Till Death Podcast Network shows as well there. So save that as a favorite. All right. And then we have solo.to/Till Death Studios. Pardon me. All right. Apparently I can't drink beer without burping. Solo.to/Till Death Studios is where you'd want to go if you're in the content creation game. You know, you have a show like I have this show right here, and you're finding your show a little bland. All right, it doesn't have as much flair as you want. Okay, like Office Space, right? You want to have more pieces of flair to your show. You know, like the intro, like the movie Military Moment intro that you saw, or, you know, the overlay that you see up at the very top. If you want cool shit like that for your show, then go to solo.to/Till Death Studios, and my man Ian is going to hook you up with his skills that pay the bills, okay? He'll hook you up with a cool intro or intros to spice up your show and make it look so fine, okay? You're going to have the primo show out there. All the kids are going to want to watch, all right? But you got to take the first step and go to solo.to/Till Death Studios, because Ian, he's not a mind reader. He can't know automatically that you want his help, all right? You gotta let him know, all right? And the next is solo.to/I'm Sean Cab. Are you detecting that pattern right now? The solo.to/ websites are the one-stop shop. Okay, so in this case, this is the one-stop shop for everything that my man Sean Cab on Till Death Podcast Network has to offer. Okay, he's got, I'm sure, links to his Sipping with Sean show that he does every Friday afternoon. He does it like via an X space, all right? So links to that, I'm sure. Links to his books that he writes. Okay, he writes fantastic books for you to check out, so check it out. He's got music-related content on there as well, I'm sure. So check that out. All right, we're moving right along. We got solo.to/The Whiskey Capitalist, and that's where you would go for all the links that have to do with that wacky, wild show, the Whiskey Capitalist Podcast, that you see every Monday and Wednesday night, and then every other Tuesday. And I guarantee you that's probably the best spot, or the best spot, to find the links to all their past episodes, and then for the upcoming episodes. You know, whenever the new link for the new episode is available, I bet you could go there and find that link for the upcoming episode right there. So check that out. And last but certainly not least is solo.to/Till Death Podcast. And that's where you would go for all the links that have to do with the flagship show that started it all here on the Till Death Podcast Network, the Till Death Podcast. And what that show is my man Ian and his lovely bride Jen, bringing you all the hot button sizzling topics of the day and entertainment and funnies and all that stuff. But bringing you all that after it's marinated in their marital mirth, okay? So they're giving you that husband and wife treatment. They're busting each other's balls like husbands and wives do, while, going over all kinds of funny shit and informative things. It's edutainment, okay? Or not to steal from, Patrick Bet-David, but it's infotainment right there, okay? And so check out that show. It's every other Saturday afternoon right there. But if you want to know the exact time of that show and when those shows are coming on, I bet the website to go to is solo.to/Till Death Podcast right there. All right, so got to love it right here. And Mr. Scott Awesome, sure find the cheap stuff. Stovetop is top shelf. Yeah, there you go. Exactly right there. I think it is top shelf there. I think it's fantastic. I mean, because, and that's the thing about stovetop. If it doesn't have enough spice or taste to you, okay, because contrary to Tim Walls, us white people, we do like spice. Okay, some of us like spice. We like taste. And now I'm not Hillary Clinton. I don't carry a well, she doesn't do this because she was faking it. I don't carry a bottle of hot sauce in my purse. Okay, not that I have a purse, not that you know of. But you can always spice up some stovetop. Throw some some Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning on there or something like that. So it's all good. And stovetop, what is that? 45 cents a box or some shit. It's fantastic stuff right there. Culture Americano. Cigar City even has a restaurant in the Tampa airport. Ooh, I like that. I like that right there. So it's like one of my favorite breweries up in Minneapolis, Minneapolis Town Hall Brewery. I believe they have a spot in the Minneapolis airport right there. There's nothing better than going through an airport in a town that has a brewery that you like. You're like, man, I don't have the time to make it to that brewery. And then you walk into whatever concourse you're in. You're like, holy shit, there's a brewery that I wanted to go to. They have a spot here in the airport. Well, fucking feet don't fail me now. Look where I guess I know where I'm going to be camped out for the next 5 hours. I'm going to be down to me some beers over there while I wait for my flight. Gotta love it. All right. So love it. All right. So let's wrap up this episode here, but really just don't want to. Here we go. I'm overlooking some stuff. All right. So, and hopefully you didn't hear that. My Alexa is going off mysteriously right there. So I think my Alexa is possessed right there. So I got to say it very softly so she doesn't go off. My last beverage director job was in Tampa. I'm up in Connecticut right now. All right, cool. Absolutely. A well-traveled man right there. So love it. All right. So let's do this here. We're wrapping this biatch up here real quick. But yeah, go ahead and follow me on all those platforms right there. And make sure, again, I want to thank Keri Smith for joining the show. She was a fun, lively guest right there. Learned so much from her, and check out her Deprogrammed with Keri Smith channel on YouTube. And I'm sure you're going to be catching her on other shows there. She's good friends with Chrissy Mayer as well. She's got a great presence on X there as well. All right, but with that, everybody, get out there, people. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. See ya. Oh, yeah. Don't leave quite yet. No. Hey, the night is still so young and you didn't get that babysitter for nothing. Come on. It's like something o'clock. Okay, right now. Okay, so stay here and like this video if you would. Subscribe to the channel. That'd be fantastic. Hey, and while I'm in the asking mood over here, because I'm just partying up here, and so should you, watch these videos over here if you would. Oh, yeah. All the cool kids are doing it, and then like them if you would. Absolutely, okay? Hey, and with that, thanks for watching this video and Movies Merica Until Death Podcast Network. All right, let's party it up.